Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls, and that was totally my first take. This is episode number I do not know, and I do not care at this stage, but we are back, and we are going to be talking about all things guitar, all things rage-inducing, and all that good stuff. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I am here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, man?
Not bad. As we started discussing, I've had an interesting week, and you said, hold it, and you can tell everyone what's going on.
Well, I'm going to hold you before you do that interesting story, because we need to, collectively, all of our fans need to say a happy birthday to Mike.
Oh,
Because Mike turned 30 just recently. He's getting old now. So
I am.
How's it feel being 30?
Honestly, terrible. At the time, I was like, this is no different. But every day I wake up, I've got sore ankles. I'm more susceptible to the cold, it seems.
You live in the wrong country.
I live in the wrong body. I wish I was just like superhuman. No, I mean, to be fair, it's been good. I was looked after very much by my beautiful and wonderful friends, very much so. And I'm very grateful. Actually, it came at a good time. As everybody knows, I've been talking about my mental health stuff. Like, I was starting to feel good, just with the progress I'd been making for myself, and then see just that wee boost of just people saying happy birthday and getting little messages and just that kind of
knowing that you matter to people.
Well, it's a nice reminder.
Yeah.
Even when you think like I don't feel good about things, other people just burst in like way, and it's good.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
nice.
exactly.
It was good.
Right, so before you do your story, let's talk about one of our sponsors, or our sponsor, I should say.
Yes.
The wonderful guys over at Ormsby Guitars, and this is a good one because obviously NAMM is happening right now, so it gives us an opportunity to not just give the usual spiel about Ormsby Guitars, we can look at some of their guitars. So
we should have been there.
we should have been there, but
Maybe we'll be there next year.
maybe
Who
we'll be
knows?
there next year. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Probs not, but we'll see what happens.
Not you.
Live Guitar Souls at NAMM, etc. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring some Ormsby guitars up on screen.
Yes.
And we'll talk about them, and these are all, NAMM things. So first up, we have this absolutely stunning, what is this? This is the Dino Cazares
yes.
Aztec calendar type guitar.
It's beautiful, man. And Perry went in detail on this guitar on a post about someone like, I love how you've got the Floyd Rose in that one. He's like, actually, that's just like essentially a Mick Thompson style guitar. We took a Floyd Rose and chopped it to bits.
Right.
It doesn't work as a trem.
Right.
It just looks like a Floyd. It's on the proper posts.
It gives you the fine tuners.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's slammed into the body, so you're getting all the goodness of it and the appearance, but it is a hardtail.
Right.
And like the detail that Perry went into to tell them how they done it, it's cool as fuck, man.
This guitar in particular is a fun one, isn't it? Because I know that there was some hoo-ha around Robert Trujillo. Trujillo?
Trujillo.
Yeah.
Controversy.
Yeah. Robert's wife, Robert Trujillo's wife, certainly made some public statements about owning the Aztec calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I know she absolutely believes that she owns the Aztec calendar.
She's
because
went out of her Mayan.
Oh, very good.
No, it isn't.
She used this design on Robert's basses, not this exact design, but the Aztec calendar.
Yes.
So apparently she's trying to lay legal claim to the many hundreds of years old Aztec calendar.
I think you might be thousands there. I think it's more than hundreds.
It's 15th century.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I also felt the same. I also thought it was.
I thought the whole point in the Mayan
thousands of
calendar
years
was
ago.
it was like so ancient but so advanced.
Okay, to be fair, the little bit of research I did was just on when the Aztec civilization was at its peak.
Okay.
And it was 15th century.
There we go.
Could be totally wrong on that though.
Every day's a fucking school day on the Guitar Souls.
I mean, I looked this up like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't read about it since. So that information is probably.
All I'm going to say is that wasn't the important part of the story, wasn't it? Not? Anyway,
Yeah.
beautiful guitar.
Beautiful guitar.
Absolutely minted. It
Happy
actually
to see
is.
Dino get something really cool like that.
He's got a few.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
What top is that? I mean,
it's like Poplar Burl,
Yeah.
I think.
very pretty.
It's gorgeous. It's super heavy figured.
Mm.
Gorgeous.
And then we got a couple of pictures of the booth.
Look at all of those beautiful guitars. I want all of them. I want them all.
I'm a particular
even-
fan of the. These are the cheapest models, right?
The GTXs, that's right.
Yeah, the GTXs that don't have the fan frets on them.
Correct.
The multi-scale on them. Super cost effective, I really like these guitars. Having said that, when your brother Kieran was over to do the Imposter tabs,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The more I got thinking about it, I really like headless guitars. he brought over his Hype, which is tuned in the most ridiculous tuning.
Oh, it's like drop F sharp, I think.
Drop F.
Drop F. I knew it was
tuned
like
lower than an
way
A
low.
string.
And just to again suck the arms with dick, like the fact that was recorded using that guitar, I think he didn't even put that much of a heavier string on it.
Oh,
and
it does
sounded
does
good.
have a super heavy string on it. The thing that
does
made
it?
me laugh about it is he's made no modifications to the guitar in order to keep it in that tuning. So it's just like the string is balanced on top of the nut.
It still sounds good though,
Yeah, it
so
sounds
fucking
great,
credit
sounds
where
great.
credit's due.
But I was playing it and I was like, you know what? Like, why do guitars even need headstocks? That's all I could think. I was like, it's just so big.
You're just Goliath mental.
I know. I really
aren't
like those Goliaths. So a couple more pictures for us to take a look at.
That is the other Dino.
Yep.
The Mad Max inspired Dino. Look at that. Oh my
Yep.
fucking god. The Road Warrior Interceptor. Pursuit Special. Oh,
Very cool. And I'm just cycling through some pictures here.
this one's beautiful as well. It's like a purple burst with the
Paint that's been painted white and then
Yep.
sanded through the paint.
but it's also looks like it's been aged. Look,
Yes.
it's obviously started to a relic and what's it they call it? Fucking
Check.
yes. There's another term for it as well. It's like hysterical or whatever.
It's checking.
It's checking for definite.
Yeah,
the lacquer.
on the lacquer checks.
Yep. And look at the flame in that fretboard. Oh,
And this one looks like an oil spill. So
these are super cool. As far as I know, it's like an acrylic
Right.
top, and they do them separate, and then they lay them into the guitar.
okay.
So they can do like any sort of acrylic coloured paints you want, like a swirl, and then onto the guitar,
Very
and they
cool.
look very cool. Especially if like imagine that over the top of a figure top,
Yep.
slightly translucent.
Yeah.
That would look pimp.
Yep, very cool. And,
Very cool.
Yeah, head on over to Ormsby Guitars website, check their Instagram, and if you're at the NAMM show, please do go and say hello. Let them know that we sent you, and
Totally.
give our best to the guys.
Yep, I know Chris and Brian and Ando will all be there. Obviously Perry's there. Pat Sanger I think's there too. Dino is floating about. I think Rusty will be there.
How have I not made mention of the fact that you were in Guitar World in Ormsby?
That
as well?
fucking how did I not make mention of that? That was the weirdest, or not weirdest, but the most surprising thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Of all the artists to pick to put in the advert, there's me. Like, what?
We reach a decent amount of people with this podcast
It's nice.
now.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative. Is probably the way I want to put it. So thank you very much.
Careful, don't get too self-important. You don't want to turn into Rob Chapman.
Oh no, can behave.
We'll get there.
I don't
Anyway.
have that kind of internet power, Levi.
Yeah, no. Very few people have that amount of internet power. Right, so you had an interesting week.
I had a very
Tell me what
interesting-
happened.
So, this week has been me being ill back and forth, going between I'm feeling better and Jesus Christ, end me now. I think I've
End
got
me.
on like that's how bad it's been, right? I think I'm developing tendonitis again because both my ankles are constantly sore. Adding to that, talking
30s.
about exactly adding to that, feeling 30, heat takes it away, which only makes me think I'm an old man. I've been wearing tight socks instead of having a compression bandage or something, and lacing my boots as tight as I can get them, right? So, without saying too much, I am a courier. I deliver things, right? Jump on and off the van. It's been nightmare on my legs. I've had a few very busy days. I had a day where I was right down the coast, down to Barrow-in-Furness and Lancaster, etc., and back up the road. And at the last site I was at, I was like, right, I'd parked the van just outside a shop, and I was like, right, I can reverse back and try and get back through the bollards, but there's cars parked usually in front of it, and it's a pure nightmare. Or I can go across the grass. It's not far. I've done it before at this actual site, and it looks fine. There's tyre tracks on the grass. Probably be okay. Wasn't okay. Got about maybe 6 foot of the 18-foot stretch, and the van sunk. And I mean sunk. So it's a Mercedes Sprinter, so it's rear-wheel drive. It's quite heavy, and let's say, for talking's sake, the height of the tyre up from the bottom of the tyre to the alloy rim or the wheel rim is maybe about, 12 inches.
Right.
And it was sunk all the way through, like all the way. And nothing I could do would move the van. So I tried putting boards underneath the tyres and hammering them in, right? But it was like a fucking swamp.
Yeah.
My boots are still Mocket in the
I'm
house.
just imagining.
Mocket meaning dirty.
Yeah, I was going to.
For anyone that doesn't know.
I was going to tell you what I was imagining there, and then I was also going to say, please explain Mocket.
Yes. So Mocket, which is M-A-W-K-I-T or M-O-C-K-I-T is just a Scottish word for dirty.
I'm just imagining Atreyu trying to get his horse out of the swamp in the Neverending Story. You trying to pull your van out of the...
Well, I also tried to push the van and rock it to get it out of this slump, and I was like, there's no way I can move this.
Like a 3-ton van. You're trying to push it.
I know. But no, but I was
You're
thinking,
a big,
right,
strong boy, but don't take the piss.
no, but I didn't think like I'll just shove it and it'll move. What I thought is if I can get slight movement, it's in a rivet or a ditch, the more I move it, the more I'll get some force, and then the more I'll be able to get it out, and by the time it starts moving forward and comes out the ditch, it'll roll.
Well, you
But
know
it
the thing you missed? If this had just happened 6 months before, your ankles would have been stronger and you would have managed it.
I would have probably lifted the van when I was 29. Fucking yes! Anyway, so that's not where it ends.
Right.
Tried my hardest to get the van out, couldn't get the van out, spent about 40 minutes genuinely hammering planks and bits of wood underneath the wheels to try and get traction, wouldn't catch. Had to phone for recovery. Obviously there was no damage to the van, it was still running, everything was fine. So the recovery man came out, put the back of the truck down, brought a winch out, and pulled me out the mud. And he pulled me about 2 feet, and it went from being ultimate swampland to completely stable grass.
Right.
I was like, see if I had been maybe 3 miles an hour faster, I'd have got out of that mud. And I was so angry just at the idea of wasting about an hour and a half of time and all that energy and effort and the hassle that came with it, because I deserved to get a bollocking really for being stupid and doing that. All for like 2.5 feet of grass. And I drove back up the road and it was fine. Like it was infuriating to be like, cool, this guy has to come out basically just to be like, we have a big cable and pull us.
A couple of feet.
Aye. Don't get me wrong, he pulled us all the way off the grass because knowing my luck, I'd have been like, right, thanks very much. Vroom, stuck. So that was that. But so that's basically been my week, has been illness, long journeys, getting stuck.
And somehow not getting a bollocking over it.
I mean, I deserved it. Hands in the air. I was like, when I phoned my boss, I was like, I fucked up. And he's like, why did you do that? And I was like, I've done it before. I saw tyre tracks, calculated risk, but my fault.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not going to get a bollocking, but so far nothing's happened.
So far. Okay, so
wish me luck, people.
Seeing as you've just done a lot of talking, I'm gonna
Tell me about your week.
I'm gonna do a lot of talking. I'm not gonna talk about my week.
Well, at least tell me how you are. People want to know. We care about you.
I'm really good. I've been transcribing a lot. I've been doing Rush. Neil Peart died.
No, he didn't. You kidding on?
Yeah, have you not seen
I've not seen anything on my Facebook at all.
Okay, see what you did there.
I like how you actually believed me there. Like,
well, I know
what,
that
are you kidding?
Sometimes you stay off social media.
No, I don't. I really wish I did. That would be the best thing for me and my mental health.
Yeah.
But
no, I've been having to do some Rush transcriptions anyway for a guy.
Yep.
And then that happened, so I was throwing myself a little bit more into Rush.
So it's not a band I've ever really got into, but see when I'm in the presence of like Nicky Callahan and Blaney and stuff, undoubtedly there's 5 or 6 live videos end up on the TV, and you know what? Every time I'm watching it, I'm like, no wonder people fucking love this.
Yeah.
They're were an incredible band.
Yeah, but a lot of my time this week has been devoted to transcribing Cygnus X1, which is an 18-minute song, and the guy wanted both guitar and bass, so that took up a lot of my time.
No drums?
No drums.
Straight
no
back.
drums. Which leads us on to the other thing that obviously I've been putting a lot of my time into, playing drums.
Yep.
Thoroughly enjoying playing drums. Assumed that I'd be a rock and metal drummer by now, but actually I've, surprise, thrown all my effort into playing country. So I've just been working on train beats and having fun with that. But that's me. Nothing really changes. Aside from the wife wanting new windows in the house. Like, why does it never end, Mike? Can you guys please go and buy a Guitar Souls t-shirt so I can buy new windows?
We're going to start a GoFundMe for Levi in his house.
Yeah. Don't even need windows. I've got windows. You know what I mean? Like, all right, wind comes through them. That's not ideal, but, you know.
That's beyond not ideal. It means they don't really function, you crazy bastard.
I know.
All in good time. I'll work out.
That's me. We have a lot of stuff planned for you today. We're going to try and get through it as fast as possible. I'm going to do a bit of a speech now before Mike reads something on his phone.
Yes.
We're going to split this up. I'm going to do a speech because we've just moved into January and I got doing some thinking, and I was thinking about worst songs of the decade. And this just came up to me as, well, you know what? I was listening to the album this is on in my car, driving, right? And this song came on, and I've always not really liked this song. But Haley, my wife, made a comment about what its parallel is, what you can compare it to. And as soon as she did that, I could not stop laughing. because it's such a wonderful comparison and it illustrates how poorly thought out this song was.
Right.
So,
Go for it.
I am going to give you my run on the worst song of the decade now, and hopefully you guys, if you're unfamiliar with this song, you can go and check it out, and if you are familiar with it, then you probably know exactly what I'm going to go and say. So, many of you will know that I am an Englishman living in Scotland. An Englishman living in Scotland. I don't have a great understanding of American culture, but I am very into country music. Now, I can never truly understand country music in the way that an American can. And I can never understand American culture in the same way that an American can.
Yes.
I'm super passionate about country music, but country music is as American as apple pie, right? I am, however, a big fan of guys like Brad Paisley.
Yes.
So, I'm also a fan of all things British.
I'm not going to lie, I really kind of thought this is where it was going to go when you mentioned the worst songs.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you played this to me before and went,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, but it was this
Cool.
comparison that made me really realise how bad it is and why it's so bad.
Look forward to it.
So, being British and the cultural differences between the UK and the US, the main thing that springs into my mind are the differences between our cultures are our concepts of comedy, right?
Yes.
We write very different comedy skits,
Correct.
sketches, TV shows and things like that. right?
Correct.
American stand-up, just most of it isn't funny to me because I think it's a cultural thing. I think you can watch a lot of American stand-ups that are hugely popular, and I just don't think they're hugely popular over here, and vice versa. When UK stand-up comedians go over to America, I don't think the comedy translates that well, and nowhere is that more evident than with TV. We, the British, have made many, many, many great comedy things, or things that I would deem to be great comedy things, right? Self-deprecating humour, we're big on that. We're big on
The Office.
awkward situations. Fawlty Towers, classic, right?
Monty Python. Also,
yeah.
not awkward, but
And generally
British.
speaking, when we have a great show, the Americans love to take it and remake it.
well, I
Right?
said The Office there, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a perfect example.
Sometimes they do a great job of it. Good examples would be The Office or Shameless. You ever see the American
I
Shameless?
went to the house of American Shameless when I was
Oh, okay.
in Chicago. Chicago? Aye.
Yeah.
Scary place.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's genuinely set where you would expect it to be
Right.
set. Round about it. It was safe. There was a lot of police,
Sure.
obviously. But right round the corner, there was guys, like, shooting dice and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The American Shameless is great. Again, it's very different to the UK Shameless,
Uh-huh.
but it's still good. Having said that, sometimes Americans take UK TV shows and they butcher them. They tried to remake The In-Betweeners, for example, and a lot of the
Is this a real
British
thing?
humour was lost in that, right? So I'm going to make reference to The Office, okay? I'm going to make reference to Ricky Gervais, who I deem to be one of my favourite comedy writers because he writes great characters. The Office to me is very funny because we all know a David Brent. We've all worked with a David Brent, right? Many people call me David Brent, right? We all know someone like that, okay? David Brent is a character. David Brent isn't a real person. Ricky Gervais
Obviously
is
not.
nothing like David Brent. Just like Ricky Gervais is nothing like Derek in the show Derek that he wrote, or he's nothing like the lead character in Afterlife, which is his latest show. He writes these characters. And when you watch, say, Life on the Road, which is the David Brent film, there are some hilarious songs in there, right? Hilarious songs, because it's an ignorant man writing songs to try and be, artistic and completely missing the mark. And he is the punchline. The subjects of the song aren't the punchline. The performer of the song is the punchline, right?
Yes.
So when you listen to a song like Please Don't Make Fun of the Disabled, right, on that film, the lyric in that is, please don't make fun of the disableds, plural, disableds. That's funny. Just putting that S in there is funny.
Mhm.
There's nothing funny about those. Again, saying those rather than them, deperson them. Whether mental in the head or mental in the legs doesn't mean their courage doesn't show. It's so ignorant. The only thing that you can laugh at when you see that is David Brent, his ignorance, right?
Mhm.
So many people will know that David Brent, Ricky Gervais, released a comedy single entitled Equality Street.
I didn't know this.
Okay, so Equality Street was a comic relief single
Right.
a few years ago, and this was before the film came out, a long time before the film came out, and it features Dom Johnson, black comedian.
Right.
He has a rap in the middle of it. It's a funny song. It's David Brent being David Brent, right? It's about equality, and he's doing that, I'm super liberal type thing, okay? But he's culturally appropriating in doing it. It's like a reggae tune, and he sings it in a Jamaican accent, which immediately you're just like, okay, this is bad. Lyrics being, let me take you down Equality Street. You never know the people you meet. At the end of the street, there's a golden gate. It let in love, it don't let in hate, no, etc. Right? And in the video, you know, he's walking down the street with Dom Johnson, who's black, and he's clearly making a point of like, see. There's a moment in the video, and I've got it up on screen where Mike can see, where you know, two muscly bald men are clearly a couple, and David Brent's like, you know, this is okay, and then the two of them kiss, and he sort of looks at the camera very uncomfortably, which again, a good comedy moment.
Very much so. It's that kind of awkward where, like, of course I like it.
Yeah.
You know what? Look,
Yeah.
I'm standing near them.
Yeah, exactly.
Aye.
I'm going to read Dom Johnson's rap, because when we do the comparison to Brad Paisley's song, you'll see exactly where I'm coming from. So Dom Johnson's rap on this is, yo, I'm like John Lennon, except I do imagine there's a heaven, somewhere everyone is welcome, all my multicultural brethren, where hate is outdated, today loves the word, even for people from Luxembourg, or maybe like some other countries that you might ignore. Tonga, never thought of it in my life before, but if I met a guy from Tonga, then we'd stop and we'd speak in fluent Tongolese on Equality Street. Yep, acceptance. See that Kenyan guy with the mental eyes? He might be totally normal. You can't generalize. Here's my favorite bit. Black people aren't crazy. Fat people aren't lazy. And dwarves aren't babies. You can't just pick them up. They got rights. And anyway, don't assume you could. They're not light. I learned the hard way. And it goes on along that, right? It's so clearly, you know, trying to be funny. It's clear that they are the punchline, right?
As if they don't understand how ironic it is.
Bingo. Brad Paisley, on the Wheelhouse album, released a song called Accidental Racist.
I knew this was going to be it.
And the comparison between when Haley was listening to Accidental Racist and said, you know what this reminds me of? Equality Street, right? It instantly clicked with me. The reason Brad's is so off base is because when you listen to Equality Street, you understand that it's written by Ricky Gervais, but under the persona of David Brent. That's important. It is a comedian writing for a character, whereas Brad Paisley isn't a character. Brad Paisley is Brad Paisley. So when he wrote Accidental Racist, he is coming from a sincerely held place, right?
Yes.
Sure, Brad does write a lot of funny songs, but he also writes a lot of serious songs.
Yes.
So, Accidental Racist, featuring LL Cool J. Cool J, like Cool Whip.
Do you know what LL Cool J stands for?
No.
Ladies love cool, and I think his name was Jason. I swear to God.
That's embarrassing, but is it as embarrassing as his rap on this? I don't think so.
I don't think anything's as embarrassing as that full song.
Yeah.
I remember you letting me hear it and me being like...
Yeah. The more I dug into the lyrics in this, though, the more I was like, what the hell? Who thought this was a good idea? So let me go for it. To the man who waited at me at the Starbucks down on Main, I hope that you understand. When I put on that t-shirt, the only thing I meant to say is that I'm a Skinner fan. The red flag on my chest somehow is like the elephant in the corner of the South, and I just walked right in the room. Just a proud rebel son with an old can of worms, looking like I got a lot to learn. But from my point of view, and it goes on into the chorus, right? There's so many buts in that, you know, like somehow the elephant in the room. What do you mean somehow? Surely you understand why socially many people fly the Confederate flag for bad reasons. You yourself have described yourself as a proud rebel son. You use the word rebel in there, right? That you do understand. You're just trying to be poetic. Chorus goes on and says, I'm just a white man coming to you from the Southland, trying to understand what it's like not to be. I'm proud of where I'm from, but not everything that we've done, and it ain't like you and me can rewrite history. Our generation didn't start this nation. We're still picking up the pieces, walking on eggshells, fighting over yesterday, and caught between Southern pride and Southern blame.
You're not the victim in this.
It's somehow like he's saying, and I agree with him, like, slavery isn't Brad Paisley's fault.
Of course not.
And he's right in saying that our generation didn't start this nation, we can't rewrite history, etc., etc. But then you also say, I'm proud of where I'm from. You do say, but not everything we've done. But the whole concept of being proud of where you're from doesn't make sense to me. Again, I'm an Englishman living in Scotland. Like, the concept of pride of where I'm from doesn't exist for me, because how can I possibly be proud of things that I didn't participate in? I didn't choose where I was born.
Understandable.
Yeah.
You can be proud of like civic duties and things that your country are upholding as values. Mm-hmm. I think that's maybe what he... No, probably not what he means, because he's talking about how bad things were.
And this is proved in the next verse, where he says, they called it reconstruction, fixed the buildings, dried some tears. We're still sifting through the rubble after 150 years. Whoa, hang on a minute. Are you saying that the South have got it really hard? Are you saying that it's still a struggle for us? Is that what you're going for here? He then goes on to say, I try to put myself in your shoes, and that's a good place to begin, but it ain't like I can walk a mile in someone else's skin. Well, that's really poetic, but you seem to have undermined it with your previous statement where you're saying that the South have had it really hard too. But let me do the LL Cool J rap. Let's compare this to the Dom Johnson, right?
See before you do that, right?
Sure.
You know it's called accidental racist? It's almost like after accidental racist should be but in brackets. Like, you're not like, I'm not a racist, but
Yeah, I'm not a
I'm
racist.
an accidental
but
racist,
Here's accidental
but-
racist.
Come
So
on.
LL Cool J's rap. Dear Mr. White Man, I wish you understood what the world was really like when you're living in the hood. Just because my pants are sagging doesn't mean I'm up to no good. You should try to get to know me. I really wish you would. Now my chains are gold, but I'm still misunderstood. I wasn't there when Sherman's march turned the South into firewood. I want you to get paid, but be a slave I never could. Feel like I'm
Newfangled
So,
Django.
yeah, feeling like a newfangled Django dodging invisible white hoods. So when I see that white cowboy hat, I'm thinking it's not all good. I guess we're both guilty of judging the cover, not the book. I'd love to buy you a beer, conversate and clear the air, but I see that red flag, and I think that you wish I wasn't here. There's not a single part of me that thinks LL Cool J wrote that.
Why?
I still absolutely think Brad Paisley wrote all of that. Because I can't... Is the message from that when it says, I guess we're both guilty of judging the cover, not the book? Is this saying that whether you're black or whether you're white and you listen to this song, we're both racists? We've got to stop judging each other.
It's not my place
Sure,
to say.
yeah, surely the black person's perception on this situation comes from a place of accuracy, right? There are many people that will, well, I don't want to say many, but there are certainly people that will fly that flag because they do think that you are a lesser citizen or whatever, you know?
They're happy with the actions that happened before. They might not state
Yeah.
that publicly.
And they take that Southern pride thing, as they say. Yeah, right. Yeah, I see you rolling your eyes. Anyway,
No, I only roll my eyes because it's like this. I've totally underthought this full thing.
yeah, I know.
Like you've
I knew
went,
you would. I
you've
knew
went
you
with the super deep of this is terrible because
Yeah.
And I've got one example of why it's not from this decade, but a terrible song, and
That you can go into a rant like this on it.
not really a rant, but you'll know the song and you'll be like,
Right.
I know why.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to hear the worst line of all time, though?
Yes.
So he goes on to say, this is LL Cool J over the back of Brad singing the chorus. He says, if you don't judge my do-rag, I won't judge your red flag. Okay. I can kind of let that one pass, right? If you don't judge me for what I wear, I won't judge you for what you wear. If you don't judge, like make assumptions about why I wear what I wear, I won't make assumptions about why you wear what you wear.
Yes.
I'm okay with that. I'm right with that. But the next line, and I'm sure you've seen it,
Yes. I remember it.
if you don't judge my gold chains, I'll forget the iron chains. I'll say that one more time. If you don't judge my gold chains, if you don't judge the thing that I wear as part of my fashion, as part of my culture, I'll forget the fact that you enslaved my ancestors. Seems like a fair trade. Again, I refuse to believe that a black man wrote that lyric. It does not compute with me. I refuse to believe that that was written by a black man.
I don't know, man. It's just a bit mental, innit? It's just
It's mental that 30 people were probably involved in from start to finish of the composition, recording, mixing, mastering.
and nobody just went right. Can we just stop?
Yeah, we need to cut this song.
You're coming from a good place. You mean well, Brad,
Yeah.
right? I know you're trying to be nice here.
Yeah.
And I know that you're like, oh, this will be a really interesting take on two different cultures and two different, not opposing sides, but
Yeah.
historically clashing.
It sounds to me
people's-
like he was, trying to do something good. He was trying to bring people together.
Totally.
But there's so many buts in here. It's like, I'm trying to bring us together, but I'm a proud rebel son. I want us to come together, but you have to understand that we had it really bad after the Civil War. Worst song of the decade, Brad Paisley. I would like to hand you this award. You are one of my heroes, but let's pretend this one didn't happen because that is a humdinger. I mean, there are some terrible songs on that album. There's a song where he sings about being fucking Facebook friends with people. Like, I don't want to hear a country singer using the word Facebook. You know what I mean?
Why?
Because
Because it's no country.
I want you to cry about your wife leaving you. I want you to talk about
How
like,
all your exes live in Texas.
wrangling up cattle and all of that. If I want to listen about songs about Facebook friends, I'll put on some Cardi B.
Okay.
And I'm never going to put any Cardi B.
No, you're not.
So there you go. That's my my worst song of the decade.
Cool.
I just really wanted to get that little rant out of my system.
I like that. I kind of knew that's where it was going, to be honest. When you said worst song of the decade, I'm like, I know Levi's going to crack out Accidental Racist, because when you let me hear it, I was like, taken aback.
Well, as I wanted to really make clear in that, right, Accidental Racist is a terrible song in its own right. It is a terrible song in its own
as
right.
I've heard it.
But when you make that comparison to Equality Street and you see someone that's done a similar, not the same, but a similar idea, but clearly from a place of
Yes.
comedy, you understand.
The
One was
character is
trying to be funny and one was trying to be very serious.
yes, the character is tragically ignorant person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way. That's the
Different
way I
dynamics.
put it. Yeah. So outrageous, but there's my song of the decade and my worst song of the decade.
That's good. I liked it. Mine's is much less deep and probably much more offensive. And I don't mean that in terms of content, more so just the actual sound. So, I think we'd get away with playing this. I don't know if you'll get a copyright strike because it's not a famous band as far as I'm aware. This is just something Kieran sent me, obviously. And when you said worst song, the first thing I thought was this offends me and I listen to it because I don't like it.
Okay.
So we'll put that on.
Does
But
that mean you've sent it to me?
not yet. I'm just going to send it just now. But what I was going to say was, and when you went into your kind of deeper diatribe, and it's not this decade, right? But I haven't listened to a lot of Ozzy, seriously.
Mhm.
I was listening to some Ozzy the other day, and we had No More Tears on,
Mhm.
and Mr. Tinker Train came on. And the guy I was listening to with started explaining the lyrics, and like, if you heard the first line of this, and whatever the
Would you like
content's
some
about.
Sweetest little girl, come
Ex-
a little closer.
Exactly, and I was like,
I'm
what the
gonna show you a
fuck,
brand
man?
new world tonight, yeah.
You know, it's almost as it's not as bad, but it's almost as bad as fucking Jailbait. You know, fucking what do you call him? Likes to talk about war and fucking America, and he was a
Ted Nugent.
conscientious object. Exactly, Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I love hunting because I'm a manly man, and I love war, but I wouldn't go to war.
Yeah.
And I'll sing songs about fucking kids. Terrible human.
Allegedly.
Well, I did sing a song about Jailbait. That's
Yeah,
what that is.
Yeah.
Call it what you want. Anyway, I'm not saying he did fuck kids. I'm saying he wrote songs about it.
Yeah.
Still, terrible person. Right, anyway. You got a rant out of me. Didn't take long.
I like Iran.
Same. Right.
Where's this song then? Who is it? What's it by? Who's it by?
I'll send you and you can read it out and then I'll let you go for this. I've sent you on Facebook. There we go. It's came through.
Okay.
So this is, as I say, offensive, but offensive because it's just really mental.
Do I know this song?
Probably not.
Staple tapeworms on my penis.
By Passenger of Shit.
Well, this is so. I already see something happening with this. I see that they have 690 subscribers, but this song has got 653,000 views.
I think this is like a re-upload from the band. I don't know the band. Kieran just sent me this song once and it was like...
No, but what I'm getting at is that their channel is small, but
The views
this
are
has
massive.
gone viral.
At some point, yes.
But not to the point where anybody wanted to click subscribe.
No, definitely not. But I don't even think that's the person who wrote the music. 'Cause I do not own the music on the site. It's just somebody that's re-uploaded it.
It's just occurred to me our faces aren't up on this one. There you go, we're back. It doesn't surprise me that your brother found this.
Oh, of course. It's not started yet. Somebody recorded this and
Yeah,
thought, this is great. I'm going to mix and master and put this out
Yeah.
into the public domain.
Yeah, well, this is the problem with the worst song of the decade, right? You've just when you think you've scraped the bottom of the barrel, you find a whole bunch of new songs, and you look up, and there's the bottom of the barrel,
Yep.
10 feet above you.
I mean, we could be digging for a while.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, like fucking dragging the waters.
That can go right in the fucking bin.
It gets even worse because then it just starts doing like a proper horrendous kick and goes into that. It's just nonsense.
Yeah,
So I'm going to have a deeper think about what I think is my worst song of the decade.
Yeah.
Along the lines of what you came up with, and I'll try and bring that next time.
yeah. But I'd be interested for anyone that is watching this. You know, if you've got an example of what you deem to be your worst song of the decade, not from a funny perspective, like if there's a song that you think is so bad that it makes you angry. The Brad one angers me not just because of what it is, because I'm sure many people have done songs like that, but because it came from somebody that I regard so highly.
I can just imagine you Telecaster in hand. You were supposed to be the chosen one.
Yeah, that's exactly. You were supposed to bring the North and the South together, not drive us apart. Again, that's me making cultural comments about America, and again, I don't truly understand it. In the same way that as we often talk about sectarianism on the show, right? And
We've done it a few times.
It's certainly something that people outside of Scotland probably just don't understand.
Well, I got to thank you for my explanation the other day, and somebody said on the last episode, and says you're pretty much bang on. I was like, that's not bad for someone who's literally going by what they know and not genuine fact. So I'll take that.
So you have a little story for us on your phone.
I do. So Nancy, my fiance, sent me this story, and I was like, what the fuck is this, right? Like, it's by an author. It's on the Washington Post by an author called Nancy French, and it's in the relationship/perspective category, right? Now, it seems like this is completely miles away from what we're talking about, but it'll give us a nice segue. I promise that, right? So, this was a 30th of December 2019, so that would have been the day before New Year's Eve. I ignored warnings from friends and family not to marry my husband. Was I making a big mistake? Now, when Nancy sent me this, right, just before I start reading, I was like, what the fuck has she sent me? And I started reading it, and I just, you know that way, like somebody sends you something, you click it out of curiosity, and you just keep reading, but even about 2 sentences in, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this, but I'm going to keep reading because
I don't understand that at all. I've got to the point now where people, even my wife, she sends me things, and then that night she'll be like, what did you think of that thing I sent you? And I'll say, I didn't bother clicking on it.
See, I think you're missing out for that. I'm too curious. I'm like an information magpie. Oh, shiny, click, right? I'm bad for even clickbait stuff. Sometimes I'm just going to admit this on air. I bought headphones that clearly came from AliExpress through a website for a Facebook advert because I was like, oh, I'll just buy them. And then I went, why did I spend 27 quid on these terrible dual driver headphones? And eventually when they failed, I got a full refund because they refused to refund me and I went through the bank. But that's a different story. You know me.
Yeah.
I love my fucking financial conquests.
I don't think I know you for that, but I don't think they do.
Right.
You love a complaint.
You know the stereotypical Scotsman who's tight as fuck with money? That's me, plus a background in customer service and complaints management and sales. So when shit goes wrong, I'm like, well, here's why you're going to make it right.
Yeah.
And plus.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, so the story begins. When I was 20, a man I barely knew proposed without a ring. I said yes. This is like me and your fan fiction. Our friends were alarmed about our fast decision to marry and move from Tennessee to New York City. I got a handwritten letter from an elder at church suggesting I wait to get to know my fiancé better. His friends held a tearful intervention. One of our beloved professors questioned the decision. My mother referred to my fiancé not by his name, David, but by the nickname Rank Stranger. But we were in love.
I'm going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. If I got sent this, I would be hooked at this point.
It's good writing,
Yeah.
right? But no, you don't even know where it's going. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
no idea, right? After refusing premarital counselling, we didn't need it. We insisted. David and I got married and moved to Gramercy Park. We could see the Empire State Building at night when it was illuminated if we craned our necks while sitting on our creaky fire escape. My life was as romantic as a love song. Then, after 1 week of marriage, the phone rang. May I speak to David? Asked a sultry-voiced woman. Reluctantly, I handed my new husband the phone, which he quickly hung up. Wrong number, he said. A few hours later, it rang again. Another woman. I dusted near the phone so I could eavesdrop. Did my seemingly loyal husband have a double life? Another wrong number, he says. I believed him until the phone rang at 3 a.m. and 4. The calls became more regular at all hours of the day and night. It got so common, I was no longer surprised when the breathy voices on the other end of the line morphed into sighs of disappointment. He always got off the phone exasperated. Or was it an act? I took messages when he was out. Desiree, Brandy, Jill. In some cases, they were testy when I said he wasn't there. One woman started crying. We were together just yesterday. Where? I demanded. In Soho, she said. I thought about this. My husband worked at a midtown law firm during the day, or so he told me. Had I made a terrible mistake? My friends were right. I didn't even know him. Maybe our relationship was all a ruse. I'd heard stories of people getting married only to realise their spouse had a double life. Are we talking about the same David? Tall, blonde, and handsome, she added sarcastically. Are you going to tell me I have the wrong number? I'm looking at the note he wrote me now. 212. She read the number. It was definitely ours. I was confused and hurt. Instead of hearing the female callers' voices on the phone, I heard only the unheeded warnings of friends clanking in my head. What's really going on? I finally mustered the courage to confront him. Wrong numbers usually don't ask for you by name. But David was just as confounded as I was. At least he appeared to be. Finally, a man called. Sorry, he's at work, I said. All work should go through me, he spat. I wasn't sure how law firms allocated cases, but apparently David was doing it wrong. I began to take a message. Who are you? I asked. I've known David for years, he shot back. The real question is, who are you? He had a point. I was the new addition. I wanted love so badly that I ignored any inconvenient details, like barely knowing the man I married. I'm his wife, the new label felt heavy in my mouth. Silence for a beat. Then two. Why didn't he tell me about you? He exploded. It was spontaneous, I said, before launching into a defence of getting married quickly, but with less enthusiasm than I would have before the call started. I'll be right over, he said. Don't talk to anyone. We have to fix this. I am not a problem to be fixed. Are you... He paused, then lowered his voice. Pregnant? Expecting a little David Lee? A kid will really hurt our comeback. Lee? I asked. My husband's middle name is Austin. What comeback? I know my own client's middle name. Client? I'm talking about David French, the attorney. I'm talking about David Lee Roth, the singer. Even those who spent the 1980s trying to figure out the Rubik's Cube were aware of David Lee Roth leading Van Halen to worldwide fame. He had a long mane of golden hair, acrobatic stage moves made possible by his brightly coloured spandex. The platonic form of rock star, he was always surrounded by gaggles of women. My David wore glasses and suits, and sometimes dressed up for Star Wars and Lord of the Rings movie premieres. There'd been a big mix-up. Apparently, the rock star had changed his number right before he moved to Manhattan, but still gave out his old number to women he met but wanted to let down easily. Later that year, he appeared on MTV with Van Halen. When rumours of them getting back together started flying, our phone rang with congratulations and invitations to exclusive parties. That's how, for a brief period of time, we became David Lee Roth's answering service and romantic liaison. There's a bit more, but that's the point. I was reading it, I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? And then it just seemed to say David Lee. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
Tall, blonde, handsome, David Lee, hundreds of women on the phone. Sounds like David Lee Roth.
Yep.
And
I
we
see
can
what you did.
segue.
I see what you did. That segue's really nice. I've got to find the damn story now, though. It's less of a story. Eddie Van Halen. I hate the what's the wording of this title. Eddie Van Halen replacement for 2020 tour revealed. That when I saw that, it gave the impression that Van Halen were touring and Eddie Van Halen wasn't playing with them. So I thought, is Eddie ill? And that's not the case. A proper journalist would have written Eddie Van Halen replacement for David Lee Roth tour.
Yes.
But Eddie Van Halen has never played in DavidLee Roth's band.
No.
So the word
David Lee Roth is sung for Van Halen's band.
bingo. So there is
That's why it's not called Lee Roth.
yeah.
I know your ego's quite big, David, but come on.
Yeah, absolutely makes no sense. They talk about who's replaced. Someone playing the role of Eddie Van Halen in David Lee Roth's band. It would be more accurate. You could say Steve Vai's replacement for 2020 tour revealed.
Very true.
Or John Five, or Jason Becker, or who many of the guitar players that have played with David Lee Roth.
Yes.
But they went with Eddie Van Halen because they wanted the clicks. Anyway, David Lee Roth is doing a run of shows in Vegas at the moment. Las Vegas run of shows. Apparently, he's opening for Kiss on the North America tour. Some footage has started to surface of this. I won't play any just to avoid copyright strikes and all of that good stuff. But it's dire. It's dire. Dave looks like your sad mental uncle. After talking about Ricky Gervais, probably shouldn't say mental. Your sad mad uncle at a wedding who just gets up and sings a song and looks a bit lost. Doesn't really know where he is or what he's doing.
Unless you're Scottish, you probably wouldn't have really experienced what a social club can be like. Imagine a pub, but it's full of mental people most of the time. And I don't mean mental as in like they're mentally ill, just that they've lived in struggles through working class places where everybody has worked industrial places, or they've been just a bit an older generation. Anyway, the social clubs are usually filled with the interesting clientele. Is it if you've seen Train Spotting and you've seen any of the pub scenes, that's like a social club, right?
Yeah.
But with really bad karaoke, like really bad cabaret, like terrible. And that's what this is like. The band are great, but David's all over the place. Like I said to you, it looks like, and I really hope I'm wrong on this, because it sounded like I was horrible when I was saying it.
Yeah.
It was horrible to hear. Like, did it sound as bad as I imagined it did?
No, because you weren't saying it with malice. You were
No.
just making an observation.
Yeah, I don't mean it out of badness. We watched a video of him doing Panama and California Girls, and in both videos there's bits where like he's forgetting where he is and then he's coming back in, and it's like muscle memories which got him back to where he's going with the lyrics and stuff. But he looks like he might have like Parkinson's or dementia. It just looks so lost.
Yeah.
And it's not just like I'm lost in the song, I need to listen to get where I am. It's like he just disassociates for a wee second and then comes back in. I don't know how to describe it. Like,
Yeah, it's sad to watch because, you know, I've seen Van Halen with David Lee Roth singing, and he did a great job. That's one of my humble brags. I saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth.
just saying.
Yeah, it wasn't, you know, back in the day, but I saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I had to travel a long way to do it. Yeah, so where was I going with this? I saw David Lee Roth with Van Halen, and he performed relatively well, but I don't think David Lee Roth no one ever thought of David Lee Roth as one of the great singers of rock music. He had a very unique voice. He had a lot of character, a lot of personality.
Exactly.
He made a lot of noises, but Michael Jackson did all of those things, but was also a good singer, right?
Yes.
Dave was never a great singer. He was just personality.
And that's it. It's exactly. He was a good-looking guy with a lot of charm.
Yeah.
He's
and he
like David
performed.
Coverdale with less ability.
Yeah. I bet he performed more than David Coverdale. You know, he's running
That's
and
what I
jumping
mean.
around the stage, the martial arts background. He was a spectacle to witness.
My example would be Running with the Devil, like I said to you.
Yeah.
Like, you listen to that, there's not really a lot of vocals in it other than him up the back going, yeah, and screaming and
Yeah.
being a mental case.
Yeah. So
Love
he's just, obviously he can't do that anymore. I'd be surprised if David Lee Roth can jump anymore. I mean, he can play jump. He can just about sing jump.
Man as well,
But-
stumble.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if he could actually jump into the air because he just looks ill,
Frail.
and it makes me very sad.
Of
Makes me very
course,
sad.
of course. So,
So yeah, I like that. Good segue. I probably
Thank
should
you.
have thought about how I could segue into another story with this. I want to briefly talk about the AB5, California's landmark gig work law, taking effect on the 1st of January. So it's in effect now. We talked. I can't remember if we talked about this on the show or not.
we did. It was about between 10 and 20 episodes ago. We spoke about it, just how it was going to affect the creative industry, never mind anything else, across California.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about how it's going to then make everybody private contractors.
Yep.
And then it fucks freelancers,
Yeah.
musicians, riggers, people who do lights, sound guys, studio musicians, all that shit.
Yeah, and I saw. I meant to do a lot more research on this at the time, but I saw the reason this kind of popped into my head is because I saw some Facebook friends posting about, you know, oh, awesome. So I literally can't be self-employed in California anymore. Fantastic.
It's frightening.
Like essentially, I can't do my job anymore. Wonderful.
That is insane. Like, to be so myopic, and we're trying to do something good, but we're going to force all these people into really bad situations.
Yeah, and the worst thing about it is there are exceptions to the law. There are people that don't have to adhere to this.
That's right.
But
But it's a very narrow
not musicians.
branch.
Not musicians.
Yep.
So yeah, I would recommend people that are listening to the show or watching the show, you know, go check it out, go look into it, and reach out to any friends that you have in California to see how it's affecting them. And you know, the more people talk about this, the more we're not going to be able to impact this in any way, shape, or form. We're not
No.
going to be able to result in any change in law in California, but this needs to be addressed. This is creating serious issues for professional musicians, working
Yes.
musicians.
I think this is like an employment or an employment similar or equal to what CITES done. It was so vague that it caused mass confusion and a lot of problems.
Yeah.
This is much the same for people who are self-employed or independent contractors. Do you know what I mean by that kind of comparison? Like, it's fucking people over badly.
Yeah.
Because of how vague it is and how they're like, well, we'll add more laws in 6 months' time once we've decided what we're doing and making the changes to make so you know where you stand. Like, that doesn't cut it. Like, you can't fuck with people's income.
Yep.
And be like, oh, we'll fix it in 6 months.
Yep.
No.
it's a really strange place to do it as well. California.
Yep.
California. It's the one of the entertainment hubs of the world.
Yes, it's
People
also
are self-employed there. It's full of self-employed people.
absolutely. Yes.
Actors, musicians. These people are all
You're right,
technically
you're right.
self-employed. They're contractors.
Yep.
So yeah, very very strange. But obviously, I don't really care about those guys. I care about the musicians. So
You care about everybody.
I do
Don't
care
be
about
silly.
everybody. Yeah, sure. Right, Meatloaf and Greta Thunberg.
Thunberg.
Yes, not Thunberg. Let's be Luddites and just go with Thunberg.
Just Thunberg.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Imagine
Imagine saying Toontrack.
yeah, okay.
Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg. Cool, got it. So
Stop it.
Meatloaf, quote, Greta Thunberg is brainwashed and climate change is a hoax. Oh, Meatloaf.
You want
Thoughts?
to know how I know that climate change isn't a hoax?
Go on.
Because I've seen Meatloaf perform, not live, but videos and stuff, and I know how warm he gets and how much he sweats. He's contributing. I think he's just been ignorant to that.
Let's read this. So, rock veteran and self-proclaimed sex god Meatloaf recently did an interview with the Daily Mail where he claimed 17-year-old climate activist Greta Thunberg has been brainwashed, quote, and that climate change is a hoax. Meatloaf said in 2012 that he holds many right-wing and left-wing political views, claiming he wasn't a Republican despite endorsing and campaigning with Mitt Romney in 2012. However, the loaf made it clear he stands with more conservative minds regarding climate change, explaining why he feels sorry for Greta Thunberg, who was named Person of the Year by Time magazine. And here's the quote. I feel sorry for that Greta. She has been brainwashed into thinking that there is climate change and there isn't, Meatloaf says. She hasn't done anything wrong, but she's been forced into thinking that what she is saying is true. According to NASA, Scientific American, and other sources, 97% or more of actively published climate scientists agree that climate change is real.
But they don't know as good as Meatloaf.
Yeah. Meatloaf, who voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Don't see how it's relevant, but okay. Was a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice in the decade when Trump asked the musician if he should run for president. Meatloaf emphatically answered, "Absolutely, I would vote for you. In fact, I'll help you with your campaign." That last part doesn't seem to be relevant to the story, but
I think it's not relevant to the story, but the point they're trying to make is he doesn't believe climate change is real. 97% of more actively publishing climate scientists do. Meatloaf is stupid because he has this political view.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying.
yeah.
This man is, maybe I'm really taking it to the extreme, but this man is vapid. These people are scientists.
Yes. Really important to remember. Look into, for anyone struggling with this, look into what science is. Science is not a proclamation. Science isn't telling you how things are. The scientific method is about predictions. The scientific method is about correlating data to give us the most functional understanding of the data that we have. So
Yes.
we can use its predictive power. If
And I
you
think
like.
most importantly, it's only part of that process if it can be verified by
Has
more
to be
than one
testable.
person.
Has to be
Exactly.
testable.
It has to be peer reviewed. It has to
Yep.
be. It has to stand up to criticism and actual review.
Yep. A hypothesis isn't a hypothesis unless it is testable. It's just an opinion otherwise. So supernatural claims are generally speaking not hypotheses because they're untestable if the person that wants to make a supernatural claim says, yeah, but it's supernatural, so you can't use our tools in order to test it. You just need to trust me.
Just to sum it up, I'm just going to quote. I'm sorry if you want to add to that.
No, not on that particular point, but more on the story. But go on.
Okay, I was just going to say, just to sum it up in general, right? We'll quote Bill O'Reilly. Tide comes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that. Literally said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you can,
Yeah, and
Bill.
this
Dick.
is like the important thing to remember with science and the scientific method is it's always open to review. It's
That's
the
if,
more
if,
we
if
understand.
it's not scientific.
Opinions change, and because it's not facts change. It's that our understanding of things that have happened and why things happen changes. We get a better understanding of things, and it might change the way we think about things.
Nutrition's a great example for that.
Yeah.
You should eat lots of meat because it's really good for you, and lots of trans fats are better than normal fats. Actually, we found out trans fats are really bad for you, and that it's not that we need to watch about this and that, but actually normal fats are good for you because your body deals with them better. And carbs are bad for you because they just don't really burn out.
Yep.
So the more information we get, the longer the study goes on, the more we realise, cool, 30 years of a diet that's mostly carbs, we realise that's not good. Studying it, what we've found that normalises this or makes it better is this, blah, 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 onwards. That the whole point is, exactly as you say, it's constant. It's evolving constantly.
But here's the controversial thing I'm going to say, right?
Oh.
Meatloaf is half right. He's half right. Greta Thunberg is brainwashed.
Ah, well, okay.
We're
fair
all
enough.
brainwashed,
Of course.
right? She's not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. When it comes to things regarding science, I have to defer to the experts on the subject, right?
Yes.
In the same way that Meatloaf is absolutely brainwashed because he believes climate change is a hoax,
Mhm.
an opinion he's entitled to hold, right? But don't pretend that you believe it for any reason other than somehow someone has managed to convince you of that.
Aye, but he's deferred to his expert, which is Donald Trump.
Yes, right? I would love for climate change to be a hoax, right? Because then there's an opportunity for someone out there, some young up-and-coming scientist, to completely revolutionize our understanding of climate change, right? To come in and win a Nobel Prize
Mhm.
by explaining the things that are happening with the planet, right? And
I'd be really
the
disappointed.
scientific community would not just push information like that away. If you could, there are many things that if you could come in and disprove evolution, you would be the most famous, the most important person in the history of science. You would be rich beyond your wildest dreams, right? So if you can do that, please go and do that. Don't call into some TV show and or like the Atheist Experience and sit and try and explain to people that aren't evolutionary biologists, you know, why evolution is true coming from your perspective, also not an evolutionary biologist. Go and study some evolutionary biology, go and put in the research, write some papers, have them peer reviewed, get people to test your findings and see what happens. Meatloaf should do that. Right, I'm not going to say he's picking on Thunberg, though of course there are a lot of, you know, conservatives that do. I do think it's very sad when that happens.
It's frightening the amount of content of things people like more or less demonising what is a young woman. Right?
Yeah.
She's 17. She's autistic as far as I'm aware, right? So she's vulnerable to some degree, right? If that's correct, I'm sure it is, right?
I'd go with that.
I'm sure it is. I'm confirmed. I'm certain it is. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly confident, right?
How dare you?
I know. But that's what I mean. Like, it's just, why are you trying to vilify and dehumanise a young woman who's passionate about something that affects everybody?
Mhm.
What reason has she got to lie if she's been brainwashed? And to what end would climate change being a hoax be good for? Why would anybody lie about that?
Yeah.
Tell me what comes from them lying for that. Ha 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 ha. We were just kidding. The planet's now going to live longer, but it wasn't going to live as short as we said.
Yeah. It is. I see what you're saying. It's like a really alien concept because the most extreme climate change activists, people that are trying to do things, what they are essentially
Is that like the Extinction
saying
Rebellion people?
is
Is that like Extinction Rebellion? Those kind of people
Maybe not
chain
that
themselves
extreme.
outside.
But you know, anyone that is going down the route of climate change is a big issue. It's something we need to deal with.
It is.
That yeah, sure. They are going down the route of saying, look, we need to lower our quality of life. We need to lower our expectations of how we live our day-to-day lives, right? We need to drive less. We need to lower our carbon footprints, right?
Yes.
We need to eat less meat. All these things, right? And I think no one wants to do. You will make those cases unless it's a genuinely held position. And I think that people like Meatloaf, and us included, like you drove over here today, yeah?
Of course I did.
Your house is what, a 3-minute walk from here?
Definitely.
We have a standard of life and we just want to continue our standard of life. And it's so easy to continue our standard of life by just going, yeah, but that's a hoax. That's a hoax.
You're right. I
I
think
want to fly to America tomorrow. Hoax.
even not even saying it's like a hoax, like convenience for the most part trumps any other form of ethical dilemma you have. And it's quite a consumerist thing, to be honest, and it's partly just the society we've grew up in. Like, I don't eat meat because I think it's better for me or that I wouldn't get the same nutrients if I was careful about a vegan diet or whatever. I eat meat because I was brought up eating meat, and that's just convenient for me. That's what I know how to cook. I know I
And you
like
enjoy
it.
Yeah, you enjoy it.
That's it. And it's not, I'm not saying I'm not a hypocrite for talking about how climate change is obviously very important when I drove to your house. I know that. I take that in the chin. I don't do enough about it to really hold a fairly valuable opinion on it. I couldn't call anybody else out for it. But it doesn't mean that I don't think it's not an important thing. And without taking the responsibility away from everybody, I think the big focus really needs to be on those giant companies in fucking multiple countries that are just polluting with reckless abandon.
Yeah, you could even make the argument that even if climate change was a hoax, and that it isn't leading to changes in climate, and which will eventually melt polar ice caps and cause worldwide flooding and etc. etc.
Heat, death,
Yeah.
heat, death.
Even if none of that was true, right? You should still be a decent enough human to say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't throw all our plastic in the sea.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, maybe that's not a good solution.
Aye.
Maybe we shouldn't dispose of our rubbish in ways that hurt other ecosystems. That's not a saving the planet perspective. That's a just fucking decency perspective.
Yep.
The idea of just throwing your rubbish in the sea and then going, oh, we don't need to worry about it anymore. Like, that's not good. That's bad. When you see animals caught up in bits of plastic, ring pools and things like that.
Dolphins.
Whenever Haley throws away ring pools, not that we have a lot of them,
Cuts them.
Always make sure they're cut. And it doesn't change the fact that in the long run, I like to think that'll all be recycled. But worst case scenario, if that ends up in the sea, well, some animal's probably going to eat it instead of getting caught in it. But at least I'm not going to have to deal with that, the guilt of that, right? So fuck you, Meatloaf.
Your intentions are good, and that's what matters.
No one's cared about what you've had to say, Meatloaf, ever.
It's true.
He'd do anything for love, but he won't not pick on Greta Thunberg. So, idiot.
I really hope we're not talking about love when at a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It feels like we've not really talked about much guitar-related stuff today,
Not
right?
yet.
So why don't we talk about guitar?
Well, so we're talking about a duet for love, but I won't do that. So let's just talk about No More Love and the rumours of potentially No More Love between this.
I don't think these are rumours. I definitely don't think these are rumours.
The very fact there's an image says to me, yep, okay.
Yeah, so Dragon Force's Herman Lee is using PRS guitars. Rumours say that he has left Ibanez. So I did just do, Ibanez gave me the new catalogue and for review, and I didn't make note of it. I didn't spend time comparing it to last year's catalogue. But Herman Lee's signature model wasn't in there, if I recall. And that's all the evidence you need. That is all the evidence you need. Ibanez, apparently Dragon Force are popular. I don't get it, but apparently they're popular, right?
Can I be really, really, really nasty and say, who gives a fuck
about
Herman Lee or Dragon Force?
Yeah, so that's the point I was trying to make. Apparently, who gives a fuck about this band?
Totally.
But they sell out shows and they still make that damn guitar, so people must have been buying it.
Totally. I've seen it quite a few people who don't like Dragon Force playing his signature guitar, which is essentially just a flame-topped S series with a terrible couple of finger holes in the horn.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Remember we watched that video of him with the floating guitar at fucking
was
it 40 tons of metal or one of these
fucking
other
dreadful. Yeah.
Probably wasn't 40,000
It was
tons of
playing
metal.
a guitar solo underwater, wasn't it? And the guitar was floating and his head was just under the water.
With a snorkel.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. I mean, it was probably nearly as bad as when he usually plays his solos.
Yeah.
I know I'm just being a total wank here, right? But look.
Yeah, but there's no doubt in my mind. He's definitely left Ibanez.
Aye.
It makes sense when you think about it. You know, Ibanez are working with lots of cutting edge musicians. You've got, Polyphia and Chon and Yvette Young and all of these. Like, those are like modern progressive, like pushing the boundaries.
Totally.
But if you think about
And
the more
you've got Tom
traditional,
Quayle and Martin.
Yeah, Tom Quayle and Martin Miller. Like, there was a time where Herman Lee was, 1993 when he started using Ibanez, where you might have considered him to be the young cutting edge guitar player, but he's just the old man now.
But Dragon Force gone as long as 93? Are you sure that's not just when he started
That's
playing
when he
guitar?
started using them. His signature model came out well into the 2000s.
I thought that.
Yeah. He's had a signature model, 13 years, I think this says.
He's done not bad.
He's been endorsed with them for about 15 years, yeah.
This says it all right about the people who are supporting Dragon Force. Herman has been spotted playing a number of different guitar brands on his Twitch live stream over the last 6 months. In addition, he used a PRS private stock guitar during Dragon Force's appearance at TwitchCon in September to launch the band's latest album, Extreme Power Metal.
Yeah, you got all of these old guys like Matt Heafy that just they're trying to be down with the kids. So last episode,
Power to them. Do your own thing.
Last episode we talked about Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. I can't remember why we talked about it, but it certainly came up.
Because we were talking about
But
The
did we
Witcher
talk about
and
Matt Heafy?
No, we didn't.
Oh, mate, there's a metal cover that Matt Heafy did live in. Well, no, sorry, it's an acoustic cover
I
live
thought it
in
was
his
that
studio.
Leo Maricelli that done the metal one.
Yeah, there's lots of people doing metal
Oh, no
covers and
doubt.
things like that. But yeah, Matt Heafy did a cover of it just live in his studio. It's fucking dreadful.
Aye.
Like it's embarrassing. It's like the fact that you did this live and then thought, you know what, I'm going to cut that clip out. I'm going to upload that. I'm not a singer, but watching that, you'd think you're not a singer. This is too high for you. You can't handle this. And actually, you've raised it higher than it was originally recorded. So
There's the fucking transcriber and Levi coming out. I'm supposed to have been seeing you're doing it in D, dick.
well, I did transcribe the song with the intention of doing a video on it.
Well, that's
and, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's some pictures. Let's bring up this. There's a picture there of Herman Lee playing a PRS, and to be fair, it just looks like a PRS, but it does look cooler than the Ibanez because I never liked that Ibanez.
I mean, if that didn't have that unbelievably dreadful finish, I think I would agree with you. But that PRS top, why would you have that beautiful flame and then just recklessly stain it yellow and then a tiny bit of tobacco on the outside? It looks fucking horrible.
No, I can't agree with you on that.
But you should.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. But actually, comments on this that I'd seen were people saying how much they love the finish. So this definitely
Those
appeals to
people
some
are wrong. You are all wrong. Use your eyes.
So
Thank you
I
for
would
coming to my TED
expect.
Talk.
Well, we're at NAMM now. NAMM is happening. We're not at NAMM, but NAMM is happening. So
I know,
who knows?
sadly.
Maybe Herman will get announced for PRS. You know what else has been announced at NAMM or has just been announced just recently? Tim Pierce came out with the new Floyd Rose guitar.
Oh, right,
So you
okay.
haven't seen this, have you?
No,
I'll
I
bring
never
this-
watched the video.
I'll bring this up for you.
It was an interesting thumbnail.
Bring this up for you. Let's move us over here.
Let's do it. Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Okay. So it's Tim just playing a bit. Tim's
Over.
a great player.
Come true. Basically training me to be a better right-hand picker.
So the guitar,
Period.
essentially, you can kind of see it here, has a raised piece
Yes.
of wood around the between the pickups, right? So the distance between the strings and then the guitar underneath is tiny,
Yes.
so you can't dig in with your pick. So it trains you. No evidence to prove this, but in theory, it trains you to just use the tip of your pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seems odd that you'd go to the effort of buying a guitar to do that rather than just buying yourself a stylus pick, which was a pick that was designed to train you to just use the tip of your pick because it had a conical tip on it.
Mhm.
And if you went below the point where it stopped angling this way and went like that way, you wouldn't be able to pick because the pick would get caught in the string. In fact, I can bring up a picture of the stylus pick for everybody who is unfamiliar.
I would say I want to say that's a very clever design, but also fuck that.
Yes.
That must be so annoying.
Great training tool, but,
Oh, definitely.
but not good for training picking.
I've seen these. I didn't understand what the fuck it was supposed to be. I'm going to say it again, as we said earlier on. Every day is a fucking school day at the Guitar Souls.
So this is a stylus pick.
Put it in the bin. Put that in the bin. And put that in the bin.
Right, so you see the concept. You can only
course.
pick above this. As soon as you go past this point, the string will slide up here and you won't be able to exit the string.
Just catch.
So it trains you to use the very tip of the pick, right? And I always made the argument that these are terrible because you don't want to just use the tip of your pick. Sure, you will play faster if you just use the tip of your pick, but you will not be able to play loud if you just use the tip of the pick. You know, you have to dig in if you want to get some.
Dodge wouldn't have any dynamic whatsoever.
Bingo. So you get no dynamics in them. So actually, the stylus pick, they missed the whole point of what they should be marketing. The whole point of the stylus pick is you should use the stylus pick if you're training your legato playing, because it will train you to pick incredibly lightly with just the tip of the pick.
And awfully precise as well.
But still, you know, if you are wanting to just use, if you're looking for a tool to help to train you to just use the tip of the pick, do you spend £5 on a stylus pick, or do you spend what I imagine will be thousands of pounds on
A Floyd Rose
the
guitar.
new Floyd Rose guitar?
I vote for neither.
Yeah, I'd vote for neither too.
The
It's-
Floyd Rose itself is also recessed into the body. Like, you know, usually the Floyd Rose, the bridge piece will sit kind of just above the body level.
Right.
In the thumbnail for what you sent
Yeah,
me, it seems to be almost into the body by about.
Well, I think that's because everything around it is raised, and if you had the bridge up higher, then the strings would obviously
That's
be
what I
further
mean.
away from
The,
yeah.
the effect is that the bridge itself is sitting right
Yeah.
in.
This is presented as though it's a revolutionary concept, a revolutionary design, but for those of you familiar with the bass playing world will know that Gary Willis has used the ramp on his
Absolutely.
bases, and the concept is very similar. It's put under there so your fingers don't drop down much lower than the string, right?
Mhm.
The other thing that's in this that is a little bit cooler is the volume. The tone. There's a knob that blends the pickup, but literally, between the two pickups.
That's cool.
But I wouldn't call it revolutionary. The thing I would point out though is while Tim plays, and he plays great. Like I say, I want someone to dig in with the pick when they're playing. He plays fine there, but when you listen to these guys actually playing,
depth you're picking,
Better.
and
So
what can you hear?
nothing has ever helped your right hand picking. And this is a
The strings
well,
are like kind
a
of
lot
choking.
of players, frankly,
You can hear the pick hitting the wood. You hear they pick the string and you hear
I
tap,
thought-
tap, tap, tap,
I
tap.
thought I heard the string hitting because of the vibrations. Is
Yeah,
it the
no, it's,
pick?
it's the pick hitting the wood if you listen.
there's going to be, and when it's not expected, it can cause you to fumble.
right.
So this is the first really invention for a guitar that is meant to help your right hand. And everything's always been for the fingering hand, the left hand in our case.
Focus your camera.
But nothing has ever helped your right hand picking. And this is a
Well,
Uh,
a lot of players,
Tim does the
frankly, might not need it because they already have the best habit. It actually creates a new, better habit for me.
No, it
I
doesn't.
do better.
and
So
it
I'm a
does-
good
Like
candidate.
it
for
can,
it does
Yeah, now you could put a microphone on your guitar and you could record tap, 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 tap.
but it's the fact that it gives me better technique. Like, well, the very fact that you're having to put your plectrum so far in by the strings and hitting the body proves that it's not.
Yes, it's
You're just
not
playing-
worked for you yet.
you're
You're
pl-
trying to play your old way, and it's stopping you from doing that.
Exactly. You're playing through. All you're doing is adding more interference to your tone.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool
yeah.
concept. Not actually what you're saying it is.
Yeah,
potentially.
just don't think it's a cool concept. When he said that this is the first thing that's ever been designed to specifically help train the right hand, stylus pick.
Or any number of exercises that are about picking.
Yeah. So I thought I'd make mention of that.
That's cool. It's interesting.
I like it when people try new things, and I don't want to just be an all-out hater. I just looked at that and I was like, this.
I think you're
It's
just
not
being
a good idea.
objective. That's your first impression with things. Is I'm going to look at this and see what I think are the actual pros and cons.
It's the barrier of entry. Is you're gonna have to spend so much in order to get into it. And
Yeah.
the thing I like about like learning to pick accurately, if all you've ever done before is like tremolo picked and tried to have your hands keep up, right, and then you learn to pick accurately, you don't lose the ability to go back to the tremolo, right? With
Mhm.
that particular guitar, it's like giving someone stabilizers on their bike, but no way to remove them. So once you've trained yourself to be able to pick accurately and only use the tip of the pick, if you do want to really hit the guitar and really dig in, you need a new guitar now. You've got to play another guitar. Can't dig in on this guitar.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Oh no, my picking's the best it's ever been, but I can't use this new guitar that I spent $2,500 on.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I don't know the price on it, but anyway. Right,
Speaking of not liking the price,
have you seen the prices on these?
no.
Okay, so I've not seen the prices on these. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not fixed. So Epiphone launches inspired by Gibson collections and a US-made Texan.
Ooh.
So fans of Epiphone and Gibson that have long wished for some headstock parity. I've talked about this going back to the original Guitar Souls, right?
Yes.
The Weight Watchers headstock, as I referred to it as, right? The headstock parity between the brands, we've kind of got that now. Epiphone's new Inspired by Gibson collection will drop the sharp angles of Epiphone's recent headstocks and soften the curves into the open book style, which while still differentiating it from Gibson's own design. So that's the thing that I'm not overly crazy on. You can tell that these are different if I bring this up for people.
This is the new Kalamazoo headstock, as it
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I think that looks cheaper.
Do you?
It's certainly the right hand model.
Well,
Maybe it's
the
the lacquer
binding
bit.
helps. The binding helps a lot.
It does.
I think when you look at this, you say it looks cheaper, possibly because it has those old.
button tuners.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that. I think that's probably what it is. It looks like it's the lack of binding and the button tuners make me think budget, and it's like the headstock you would find in an old K or
Yeah.
a Hondo.
Yeah, I think initially when I see these, it's going to give my gut it's going to tell my gut that this is a knockoff Epiphone and they've just not got the headstock right.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I think with hindsight being what it is, I think we'll look back on this and we'll probably say this is a vast improvement, and that I can't believe that they ever thought the original design was a good idea. In fact, if we bring up the original design,
Have they fixed the issue with headstocks breaking off all the time?
probably not.
Then what's the point?
Good point. Good point.
With no badness, what's the point?
So if we have a look at the original, oh no, sorry, this that's not. We're looking at. Is it that? Why am I struggling with this? That'll do.
There's one up there where somebody's cut a bit of wood that you can glue on the top of the headstock to make it the proper Gibson book shape.
What's that?
That's like a 4 square. There you go. To your
Oh,
left.
yeah.
There you go. Oh, fuck
Like a
off,
hat.
bucket.
A hat for them. I just think that these are a step in the right direction.
Yes.
It's not, like I say, I would prefer that they looked exactly like the Gibsons. I cannot see a reason why you wouldn't have them look exactly like the Gibsons. Because going back to my original argument, it's like, you acknowledge that the people that buy Epiphones are the people that want Gibsons, but they can't afford Gibsons, so you're punishing them for not being able to afford the genuine article. It already says Epiphone on the headstock, right? That's already the badge of shame, if you like. It's not a shame thing at all. Like, I've owned a fair amount of Epiphones. But if you're wanting to differentiate the two brands, you don't need that headstock shape to be different, because it's not like you change the body shape. You have the Les Paul body shape.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole iconic thing about Les Paul is the entirety of its shape. So to then go, yeah, well, no, actually, you have to have this super weighty, meaty guitar with a weighty body and then the Weight Watchers headstock. Hate it. That is definitely a step in the right direction. If we go and look at the actual lineup of the guitars.
Let's see what's going down.
Yeah, these don't look the worst.
Not the bodies are all cracking. It's the headstock I've got a problem with. Same as yourself.
It's better.
I don't even think it is.
They've
I
literally
think it
just done
looks
a zoom in on that, haven't they?
cheaper. Aye. I think it looks cheaper, personally.
Okay.
That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, step in the right direction for me. It will need to be. I'll need to see two next to each other. The old versus the new.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Like, any change is always going to be scary, right?
Well, it's not
for
scary. I
something
don't
like
play
this.
Epiphones,
Yeah,
but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm not going to buy any of these anyway, right?
Never.
Unless it's the exact Gibson headstock, I'm going to look at this, say, beautiful body. Rather get a Gibson. If you changed that so it looked like the Gibson headstock, I would happily buy. I'll put my money where my mouth is. If you release that with an actual Gibson headstock, but it actually says Epiphone on there, and you don't hide the fact that it's an Epiphone and you're a gold top, I'll buy it. No problem. Happily buy it. So
You probably will. That's the best part.
I definitely will. I don't say things I don't mean.
I like the Daphne Blue SC. That's cool.
Yeah. So all right, rant time.
Go for it. Let's unleash the Arsnivore.
I think it's just becoming clear that I just really, really don't like this guy. The more he does, the more I don't like him.
So it seems.
Yeah, Tom Morello responds to backlash for Rage Against the Machine headlining Coachella. The guitarist, essentially his point is, late with your hate. So Tom Morello has responded to some of the negative sentiment surrounding the latest confirmation of Rage Against the Machine, the headlining slot at Coachella Festival this April. The event will take place over 2 back-to-back weekends, April 10th to 12th and then April 17th to 19th at the Empire Polo Club in Indio, California, with prices starting at around $500. Other headliners are Travis Scott and Frank Ocean. The criticism was present on Ultimate Guitar as well. The most upvoted comment on the Coachella announcement came from GR84, who wrote, "Excuse me, Rage, just for your information, Coachella tickets start at around $500 and skyrocket from there. There will be no revolution at this festival. This is a festival for people that can afford it. Way to play your values. I mean, I'm for you guys reuniting, but please don't try and make it out to be some sort of cause. It's not. It's for people to take pictures and videos at a nostalgic Rage Against the Machine reunion. You picked the wrong place to reunite, except, of course, money-wise. If you wanted to do something special and unique, I think you all should have just pulled a Jack White and did random pop-up stuff to get people talking. Or, at the very least, an affordable show devoted to you, not a show sponsored by corporate America. Couldn't put it better than myself.
You can't argue. It's bang on the money.
It's so unbelievably on the money, which is an ironic way of putting it, because Tom Morello, once again, displaying that he's on the money. He's going to follow that money.
We're in the money.
Who's going to be at Coachella? Are there any Rage fans there, other than rich ones that ultimately probably clash with your political ideals anyway? It's going to be full of fucking Instagram influencers that do not give a shit about your band or your politics.
An Instagram influencer that just can't wrap my
I know.
head round that
I know.
idea and concept.
I know.
You
Yeah.
put pictures online, let me give you money.
Yeah. Right, but did you actually check out Tom's response?
I did.
So Tom responded, previously, Rage headlined Coachella in 1999. Previously, Rage headlined Coachella in 2007. Hashtag, you're late on your hate. Right, Tom. Buddy. Tom or buddy old pal. First of all, you can never say someone's late on their hate. Right? If you do something shitty and it takes... Perfect example. Kevin Spacey did some really shitty things. Don't see you saying to everybody, well, you're a bit late on your hate. You probably should have done this a little bit sooner. Right? When something shitty happens, it doesn't matter how late people are to the party. It doesn't change the fact that something shitty has happened, right?
Mhm.
So you don't just get to say you've taken too long to do this. But
Listen,
also,
Prince Andrew's absolutely innocent. Jeffrey Epstein should never have been suicided in jail.
can somebody please clip that, make a song out of it? That'd be wonderful.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, but also, you're missing a point here, Tom.
£500.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Rage headlined Coachella in 1999. Was it $500 to enter? Was it $500 to come and see it?
No.
No, it was $50. It was $50.
And the buying power in 1997 would have been, 2007, would have been much higher than it is at the
It's
moment.
1999.
There you go, even
no.
better.
So $50, right? To go and see Rage Against the Machine at Coachella in 1999. So you don't get to make that comparison, right? Saying, oh, you didn't hate on us when we headlined in 1999. No, that's because I could afford to go and see you in 1999.
It was more of a grassroots thing rather than a total wank middle to upper class
Yep.
flex
Yep.
to go to Coachella.
Previously, Rage headlined Coachella in 2007. Do you know how much tickets were for Coachella in 2007?
I don't, but you'll tell me.
$83. $83 for a
Breaking
day
the bank.
ticket. You could still get day tickets at that time. You can no longer get just day tickets. But a weekend ticket, so if you wanted to do a like-for-like comparison, a weekend ticket for Coachella in 2007 was $250. So, like-for-like, it's still twice as expensive now. Absolutely fucking astonishing that this man, the poster boy for socialism, the poster boy for it, in music and about revolution and breaking down communism, breaking down capitalism and how our capitalist society is broken, that we need to do something to fix about it, is headlining a festival where only the rich can afford to go because it's priced the everyman that actually loves your music out of it. It's going to be full, as that comment said, it's fucking sponsored by corporate America, you fucking shill.
Would not surprise me if Fire Festival comes back and Rage Against the Machine are the top headliner.
Yes. I mean, no doubt, because if the money's right, Tom's there. Tom's there. And then he's going to sit in his fucking mansion and moan about rich people
Aye.
and say how the poor people have it so hard. You know what? The one thing that makes poor people have it better is that when you're poor, you get to go out and hang out with other poor people and you get to, rally together around things like punk music and Rage Against the Machine, right? When you're downtrodden in the 90s and you want political change, you go and see Rage Against the Machine because it gets you amped up. Because it's like, we deserve fucking better than this. And then this. Sucking on that corporate dick again. How's that guitar course doing for you, Tom? I'm talking to you like you're actually listening to anything I'm saying. I'm just the everyman. I'm just the everyday man. I'm not a millionaire, so you're probably not listening to this. You don't give a shit what my opinion is. My opinion doesn't matter to you. Doesn't matter to you in the slightest. But you know what? I imagine if I don't know who's sponsoring Coachella. Let's say Pepsi. I imagine if Pepsi said to you, Tom, see that tweet that you put about #late on your hate? It really doesn't fit in with our branding. Could you maybe remove that tweet? You would remove it in a heartbeat, you fucking corporate shill.
Yes, master.
Fuck you, I won't buy what you're selling. There you go. Anything to add on that one?
I think you summed it up quite nice. I don't think you missed any essential points or didn't quite hit the marker.
That was a genuine rage, sorry.
I liked it. It was good. It was natural. It was healthy. And it's
I don't know
accurate.
about healthy, but
No, it's healthy. It's cathartic. But you're accurate. Like, I am the night watchman, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you're just a guy that's trying to make money because you got famous for being in a very good band at the time. Like, you tight as fuck, great music. But your point was always anti-capitalist, and now you are absolutely not following that up.
yeah, I've not seen it yet, or whether it's confirmed to be true. But the rumors going around is that he's got a signature model being launched at NAMM.
Oh, brilliant,
Because
man.
of course he does. Fuck you, Tom. You suck. Go away. You terrible, terrible bastard. Oh, okay.
You are the worst human.
So we have 2 more things to talk about. Do you want to do the one that's cancer? You really don't want to, do you?
What one's this?
Yvette Young.
Okay, yes, okay.
Mark Holcomb, Yvette Young. What a clusterfuck.
It's not good. I feel really bad for the vet.
I feel
Really
terrible
bad.
for Yvette. For those not in the picture, Yvette Young, wonderful guitar player. Well, some of the stuff she does, I think, is really cool. She does some stuff that I
think-
don't really dig. But
I think regardless of whether you like her music or not, she's a tremendous musician. And
Yes.
there is no other way to put it. She is fantastic.
yeah. So for those unfamiliar, go and check her music out. Of course, that's very important.
Band are called Coven as well, just to plug further.
Covet.
Covet, sorry, not Coven. Apologies.
Yeah. So she's cool. She's got a sound, which I think is the most important thing. Mark Holcomb of Periphery also has a sound. You know, that band are very important.
Sorry.
Yes.
That's his sound.
Yeah. So they sorry, not sorry. So the 2 of those, it seems in all honesty, this was something that was rumored and
Yes.
for a while.
Yes.
And you mentioned these rumors to me, and I said I have no interest in talking about this because it's rumors, right? This is rumors and unsubstantiated.
You
rumours
didn't
like
say that. You said no way.
No, that wasn't what I said. What I said that I didn't buy is that cover an opening band would go to the headliners and say, we're not doing the tour unless you tell one of your members that they can't be on the
Right,
tour.
right, okay,
You know what I
fine.
mean?
Right.
I
Maybe I
didn't buy that.
misunderstood.
And I still
Okay.
don't buy that. But yeah, it's unclassy to have to talk about something like this, right? To even consider talking about something like this.
I don't even think it's unclassy. It just or undignified. It's more so that I feel as if, and I don't really have any problem talking about most topics.
Yep.
Because when it becomes public discourse, then it's going to be spoken about anyway. I just feel bad that it's almost perverse into something that's very private.
Yes.
For Yvette especially,
Mhm.
you know, like
Yeah.
and her friends and family, her close circle,
Yep.
that she doesn't. First of all, she didn't need to go through all of whatever's happened.
Mhm.
I don't know the full truth. None of us do,
Mhm.
except Yvette
Mhm.
and Mark and the other people who were in that circle.
Oh, we know what we've been told.
And that's what I mean. Like, there's
Matt
obviously
Halpin
other.
has posted about it, and
I never seen that. There's obviously other dynamics to it that are bad. All I saw was, or I heard the rumours, told you about the rumours that I'd heard, and then I was linked a screenshot of Mark's post in the Giant Shit Posting Facebook page.
Yeah.
And it was like,
so I've got to stop you
uh-huh.
because we're going through this as though we've told people what happened.
Sorry, right. That's it, assuming that people know
Yeah.
what happened.
In short, the rumours that people had been saying is that there was a lot of sexual chemistry between Mark Holcomb and Yvette Young. Ultimately, nobody's fucking business, right? But the 2 of them there was a thing between the 2 of them that was happening behind the scenes.
But I don't think the problem was that there was sexual chemistry. The problem was that Mark has a family.
Well, yeah. So that's what people were speculating on. Like, there seems to be a lot of sexual chemistry between
Yes.
these 2, but Mark has a family. What's going on here? Ultimately, nobody's fucking business.
Correct.
which is where I preferred this to have stayed.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Especially for a vet.
Yeah, absolutely. Turns out they were in a relationship for 6 months. He had an apartment with her, and he had told the band that his marriage was over. He had told Yvette that his marriage was over, and that wasn't the case. He was working on his marriage or
That's-
whatever. You know, there was more to it than a simple, I'm not with my wife anymore, I can be with you, it's okay.
His
It wasn't
Facebook
okay.
relationship status was it's complicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fucking boy, was it complicated.
Not to be dismissive, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of making light of a very serious situation. I
but-
didn't know all of that.
You know what, though? You say a very serious situation, but ultimately, to me, it's just not. It's just...
No, it shouldn't be. I don't mean that as in like we should all be paying attention and
Yeah.
scrutinising and talking about it.
Yeah.
Exactly as you put it, it should have stayed private.
Why do fans care? Why do you fucking care who your favourite guitar player is putting his dick in?
Here,
Doesn't matter.
it's not that. People were upset specifically for Yvette that she had been misled, and people who are fans of Mark
Mhm.
or Periphery, maybe not specifically him, were getting upset that someone they look up to is
Yep.
capable of that manipulation.
Anyone's capable of that.
I'm not.
Anyone's capable of doing shitty things.
Oh, of course. I don't mean that as in like I'm not possible, or it's not possible I could do it. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's not the point you're making.
Yeah,
I
like
get you.
humans do shitty things.
Correct.
But so I
Humans
didn't-
are very selfish when they want to be.
Let me be clear about this, right? I didn't want to talk about this. But the reason we're talking about this is because for some fucking reason, Yvette and Mark wanted to talk about this publicly. And that is just this concept of like, here, let me give you a big public statement in a gent shitposting group. Let me give you a public statement about the things that you've all been gossiping about, right? But I'd also love it if you'd respect our privacy now.
I don't think MD said that.
What? Anybody said what?
I've not seen. I didn't know
Mark-
as much as you know, and I haven't seen
Right,
MD. Did Mark's post say something about respect my
Yeah,
privacy?
please.
I did.
Yeah. He said, I won't be commenting further on this.
Right, maybe I
And
missed it.
Yvette had responded to the post several times, confirming that it was a genuine post, etc., and saying again, could you please respect our privacy at this
Right,
time?
okay.
That is an alien concept to me. We value our privacy. We want to keep things in house. This is nothing to you guys, but let me tell you a full story. Like when I give you the story, this isn't rumor that we were in a relationship for 6 months. We had an apartment together. We were, for all intents and purposes, I was under the impression that we were in a very serious relationship. But actually, we weren't. That's not me speculating. That's what Yvette said. Yvette, not like in a roundabout way. I'm not going to say it's a verbatim quote, but
Close enough.
I may be paraphrasing, but
Yes.
yeah, she was very clear, right?
Yes.
About the therapy that she's had to go through, and that she's still going through therapy because of it, and that it's ruined her life, right? You don't post all of that stuff and then go, but please respect my privacy.
I can only assume, right, and maybe I'm completely off the mark here, that both parties obviously will have no further contact in terms of anything, even professionally,
Yeah.
right? Maybe they've both came to the same realisation that regardless of what happened, whether I fucking hate your guts or loathe you or whatever, we're still both professionals in the MI, and your reputation stands for a lot in the MI, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's very much about personability.
Yeah.
And who you know and why you know them and your relationship with them and all that kind of stuff. Maybe both of them were like, let's just draw a line in the sand and stop people fucking rumouring about it for both our sakes, for our own well-being and health.
Yeah.
And peace of mind. We'll just set the record straight and we'll just leave it at that. Let's just fucking put this, just fucking deal
Let's
with it.
do
and
it in
that's
a group called Gent Shitposting, because it'll be received well in there.
But let's be totally honest, where else are they going to post it? Because it would have went on their socials anyway. But that's probably the majority of people who were talking
The
about
fact
it
that
and rumouring.
they posted it in the Gent Shitposting group and then had 100 people arguing over whether or not it was a shitpost or not, and that they were reposting it as a copy pasta because they thought it was a.
Okay,
You know what I mean? Like it's just.
I didn't see the thread. I told you
Sure,
this.
yeah.
So that's a separate context to what I remember or
Yeah,
what I know of it.
sure.
So
I don't
I'm not
necessarily
surprised,
think
sadly.
a big fucking public post, but ultimately what this comes down to is still after the guy has said, "Can you respect our privacy?" and she said, "Respect our privacy," everyone is now speculating on like, "Oh, do you think they're going to boot Mark out of Periphery?" And like, probably not, because I can't see why they would. I think in the history of bands, people have done worse things than had an affair. Like, I think although we don't like to admit it, and it's not something I partake in, not something you partake in, I think affairs are relatively common
Yes.
in life. So to now paint him as though he's fucking lost profits guy, Ian Watkins or whatever.
It's
like,
not so much the
an
affair that
affair.
I think people are
They
upset
happen.
about. It's the again, maybe I'm seeing it from a different point of view. I think it's people are seeing the dynamic of you've got Mark who's in Periphery. Let's be honest, Periphery as a gent band are massive.
Mhm. Yeah,
He's in a very influential and powerful position, at least in that niche.
Yep.
MI, right? And Yvette, with no disrespect and not to like infantilise or anything, as a young woman in the music industry as well, I think people have seen it, which, and what you've told me about Mark telling people stuff that wasn't true to Yvette as well as the band about him not being his wife, etc.
it was Matt Halpin that confirmed that.
I mean, it's really horrible. That's predatory. And I think that's the problem. People have seen it as like you've completely misled everybody in this situation and proven that you can't be trusted.
No, I don't like the word predatory in that situation because we
Okay.
don't know the finer details. For all we know, Mark's relationship could have very well have been on the rocks.
Totally going
And
by
for all
what
intents and purposes, he could have thought that he was starting something with Yvette in good faith.
Okay,
could-
fair enough.
when he said to the band like, I'm not with my wife anymore, it could have been a true statement. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not saying it was a true statement, but it totally could have been. Of course, there's the possibility that it was predatory. He could have known full well that his relationship was absolutely fine. He's saying to the band, "No, don't worry about it," and he's saying to Yvette. But obviously, I can't possibly come to a conclusion on
Fair,
that one way
okay.
or the other, right?
I'm speculating as well. I know that. I think that's probably where it's came from. It's been this. You're a person of influence, and therefore you're in a position of trust, and you've proved that trust is easily broken by you, at least based on the facts or the information that people have at the moment.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? And it's like that. I don't want to say white knight because that makes it sound so dismissive and horrible and fucking social justice. But people will be sticking up for Yvette because they genuinely don't want to see her going through any more of
Yeah.
what she's been through.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of people sticking up for Yvette, rightfully so, but I'm seeing the opposite as well. I'm seeing a lot of people sticking up for Mark.
Of course they will.
Which
There's going
is
to be people
super-
that will see both
But
sides
that's
of
the
it.
point. Like, don't see either side of it. Do what I just did there, which is go, I can't make a conclusion either
Yeah.
way. Ultimately, this is none of my business. These people have said that they'd like to have their privacy respected. If you're looking at this from a perspective of, oh, well, Mark did something really shitty, and therefore we need to drag him over the coals for that. What if I produced emails from other members of Periphery where they've contacted guitar companies and said to them, I want this for free. I can make or break your band. Your brand. I can make you or I can break you. That level of arrogance, right? If I could present you with an email like that, that'd be a shitty thing to do. Would be drag someone over the coals for that. The reason I really wanted to talk about this is because it's a subject we've talked about many times before, which is separating the art from the artist.
Okay.
That's what it all comes down to
Yes,
with this
you're
situation,
correct.
right?
Okay.
There are a lot of people making a lot of memes about Mark, and you know what? I am laughing about them. I love the fact that he made that unbelievably personal post. Shouldn't have made it. Very stupid.
Especially as you say in the gent shit posting
yeah,
page.
Yeah. It's a stupid thing to have done. Apparently, it was at Yvette's request because she had a lot of people sending her abuse over the situation. Yeah. I say apparently, again, that's what she said. She said, I appreciate this post may seem silly, but I did ask Mark to make this post.
Yep.
Where was I going with this?
Separating art from artists.
Separating the art from the artist. No, it's escaped me. It's just completely left my head.
That's all right.
Pointing out that where that was posted. It'll come back to me.
The best part about this being a recording is if you really wanted to,
I could edit it.
you could just chop it in and be like, what was I thinking? You're in.
Yeah, I could pause it. I could rewind it. And
Exactly.
work it.
And I'm back in the room, that kind of thing.
Just the whole thing of like it's ultimately it's just nobody's business. Oh, I know where I was going. Yeah, so
I knew you were going to get there.
it'll click back on like that. Like this unbelievably
Fucking
personal post.
house.
There are memes galore in this, right? What's Periphery's second album called?
What is it called?
This time it's personal. There's memes in that. There are so many fucking
Yes.
memes in all of this. Your brother literally sent me. There's a group on Facebook dedicated to memes about Mark Holcomb adultery. Because that's when you post this shit in a group called Gent Shit Posting.
Yep.
What do you expect?
Shit posting.
Shit posting. So I think it was very ill advised. Do I hate Mark in any way, shape, or form for his actions? Of course not. Because
I don't know.
It's not my place to. It's not my place to.
Simple.
It doesn't change the fact that the music he makes is the music he makes. He's an adulterer. There are many adulterers out there.
Some are worshipped for being adulterers.
Yep. many of you probably grow up in broken homes where your parents are separated because one of them was an adulterer. My wife, my mum was an adulterer, right? And I don't like my mum, but that's not why I don't like my mum. You know, like relationships are
What was this about
complicated.
personal posts?
I know. Yeah, good
Jesus Christ.
point. Yeah.
No, it's
we
not your
could list
decision,
all the
though.
reasons why I don't like my mum too.
No, that's
But
not.
you know what I mean? Like it's like relationships are really complicated.
You're absolutely right. And the dynamic and the events that happen in between the nuances are never really spoken about or understood. So I totally get what you're saying.
Do I think that they'll fire Mark from Periphery? Of course fucking not. Of course not, because it's business. It's business.
Aye, like
I could be wrong. I'd be very surprised if they fired him. Like if I've been in bands, many bands, and if one of the guys that I played in a band with cheated on his wife, would I boot him out of a band for it? No. I'd say, mate, that was a shitty thing to do.
because it's a personal thing. It's not
Yeah.
business. You're
Yeah,
right.
It was a
Aye.
really shitty thing to do. But ultimately, it's your life. And, you know, if that's the decision that you have to make, then that's the decision you have to. I've stood by and witnessed my friends cheat on girlfriends, right? And I've told them that was a shitty thing to do. And then I can actually think of examples where I've stopped that. You know what? I've seen people cheat on girlfriends. I've also saw someone try to cheat on their wife, and it got to the point where that was going to happen. And I had to step in and say, what are you fucking doing? You're fucking married.
Mm-hmm.
Like married. Shouted, you're fucking married. And then the girl heard and was absolutely furious about the situation.
It happens. People make very stupid decisions. I don't want to say mistakes because it's not a mistake to engage another person in any sort of relation when you know you're not supposed to.
Yep.
You maybe made a bad decision. You made it an ill-advised and badly judged error, but it's not a mistake.
Relationships are complicated.
So complicated.
Yeah.
And let's just leave it at that.
We will leave it at that. Please, if you take anything from this, do respect their privacy.
Says us that just spoke about it.
Well, it's more like when you read the comments on any of these, when you see these cancerous people that are sticking up for Mark or these cancerous people that are sticking up for a vet, like, again, you're just dividing and you're just fighting each other. Really, you should just read the post if needs be, and then just move on with your day with that information there, because
Yes.
nobody really cares about you fighting for one side or the other. You're just creating more drama around the situation. It doesn't need to fucking be there. If you want to do something about this, go and buy a vet's music. Go and buy Mark's music. Go and make some memes about Mark. It's quite funny. Okay, so that's almost us. Lastly, have to make mention of the Rob Chapman situation.
Oh man, another fucking big rager.
Yeah. Well, no, personally, no.
Like a justice rager.
Oh yeah. Like, obviously, for those that have seen, those that haven't seen, KDH made his video about Rob Chapman exposing him. Rob Chapman made an absolute bullshit response.
I'm actually the victim, and actually I'm innocent, and I've got a lot of internet power, and I wouldn't want to use that badly, but this man said bad things about me, so you better go and attack him. But I didn't say that.
Yeah, well, essentially, and I'm glad you did my accent for that, because that
I
sums
was
it up
actually trying to
absolutely
be
perfectly.
chappers, but was that off?
Yeah. I mean, it's just an English accent. We
Maybe it's good that I
all
didn't-
sound the fucking same, don't we?
No.
Kieran did it in his new video, didn't he? Purple burglar alarm. See,
Yeah, right. I talk about
see
how
I
it's
sound
ridiculous.
stupid too. Yeah.
See, it's not
Can
any
you say
better. That's
purple
a
burglar alarm for me?
purple burglar alarm.
But say it like you were just normally talking.
Purple burglar alarm.
Absolutely wonderful.
That's like me if I was behind the wheel and that was some part of my road rage. Oh, the fucking way, you purple burglar alarm. Actually, no, I've just moved to Fife.
Yeah.
Get away, Ken.
Yeah. So,
Fuck's sake.
like, KDH made that video, and you're right, Rob made that video, and he talks in it about his, I know what my online power is. And when years ago Rob threatened to name and shame me, that's what he was doing. He was threatening to unleash his audience on me, right?
Yes.
I will name. It wasn't like it was. I'll name and shame you to your audience. You don't want that to happen. Like, why would you say that unless you know exactly what you're doing there? You're trying to intimidate someone that's smaller than you. So I made a response video to that because I could debunk some of the shit that Rob had said in his video. I could prove that he'd lied about some things easily, right? And many people misinterpreted why I made that video. So I just want to keep reiterating this. I don't know KDH, Kalen, all that well. I've spoke to him a little bit, but heart's in the right place. Got a lot to learn still, right? But I made that video because I knew what Rob's video was going to result in. It was going to result in thousands of people dogpiling this kid. He's a kid, right? Thousands of people. And if I could make my video and have 1% of people that were going to dogpile him think, actually, maybe I won't do that. Actually, maybe I shouldn't be fighting on behalf of someone else. based on just the information that they've given me, just blindly going into battle.
And more importantly, fighting on behalf of chappers.
Yeah.
Oh,
If I could just stop 1% of people doing that and help Kalen, because I know what online abuse is like, right? I receive a lot of it, right? I'm a big boy though, I can deal with it. But there have certainly been times where I struggled with it. I'm just much
absolutely.
better at it now, right?
You're fucking human. You can't take a barrage of negative, constant comments and have that not affect you.
Yeah. And here's the key thing. Kalen not only was getting a bunch of negative comments, thousands of comments, he was getting people contacting his employment. He was getting people contacting his school. He was getting people finding out they located the town that he lived in, and they were trying to locate his address.
Can we just be very candid and clear and say that doxing people in that respect makes you the worst kind of cunt?
Absolutely. And that's
worst
what
kind
this
of cunt.
really comes down to. When you have a big audience, I don't have a big audience. Someone criticised me this week.
You've only got 17,000
No one cares
subscribers.
what your opinion is on this, mate. You've only got 27,000 subscribers. First of all, 27,000 people would fill a fucking arena.
That's
That's
a lot
an
of them.
unbelievably big amount of people, and I cannot believe that many people have clicked fucking subscribe on my stupid videos. I'm humbled by that, right? But I also, every time that I do
Humble
something
brag.
like this, I should make a lot more of a point of saying never, ever, ever would I ever want my audience to go and carry out what they deem to be justice on my behalf, because that's stupid. That's not how you make change in the world. You just turn yourself into the fucking bad guy when you do that.
What is justice about abusing people online? About trying to ruin their reputation?
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's done something really shitty and you feel like there needs to be some sort of confrontation, then fair enough. But him making a video about how a guy done something bad that can be proven,
Yep.
or it's very at least evidenced why he believes that way,
Yep.
and your response is to try and pretty much fucking fire sale his life. Fuck
Yep.
you.
Yep.
You are the worst kind.
And then he gets to pretend that he didn't deliberately do it. Oh, I didn't tell my fans to go and do that. You knew what they were going to do because you know how much online power you have. You made that very clear in your fucking video. You made it super clear in your video.
Yes.
And you kept saying that, in the past, you've tried to protect people because you know what would happen. You know what would happen. And here's the fun part with this. Not fun, but so when Rob's audience started dogpiling Kalen's videos, who was there watching? Rob,
Mm-hmm.
because he was responding to people's comments where they were abusing him, right? Not stepping in and saying, hey, leave the kid alone. There's a reason I didn't link to his video. Leave him alone. Do not do this in my name. He didn't. He got involved in the comments. It's almost like he did what he did, sent his fans there, and then went over there to watch it.
He was the kind of person at school that when he had a problem with someone, he'd get his big brother to run over and pretended that he didn't, and he stood in the background like, oh, I didn't do this. That's not my doing.
Exactly. I can imagine him like the day that happened.
Can we
fucking-
just get a big wooden spoon in here and just write Rob Chapman shit stirrer?
I can imagine him with an iPad just reading through these comments in his bathroom, just going,
Why would you want to imagine that?
yeah, then just
No!
staring at himself in the mirror going, oh, you're so powerful. I've had 2 singles in the charts this year.
No.
I sell loads of guitars.
Better than that, right? You've seen American Psycho.
Yep.
You know the scene where he's looking at himself in the mirror and doing this, right? Imagine that, but he's got one of those iPads with the flashlight holders. Oh, yeah!
Pumping this kid. Allegedly.
Jesus Christ, that went dark. Okay.
Yeah. The reason I bring it up, though, is because I made that video, and you know what? It is my most disliked video on YouTube.
That's
But you-
because Rob Chapman is a dick, and people that blindly defend him don't respond to logic, and that seems to be the majority of internet reactionary hate.
Yes. Oh, this is a key point, right? When people comment on that, they on either that or like my Stevie T video, which had a lot of dislikes on it, they try and point at the dislikes as evidence that you're wrong about something. And when I turn around and say, look, I don't care about your opinion because you're a Stevie T fan, in the same way that I don't care about my fans' opinions because you both come from a position of bias,
Yes.
right? The likes and dislike ratio on a video means absolutely fucking nothing to me. It doesn't matter. I'd be more interested in the opinion of somebody who's never heard of me before.
It's one of those ones that's like, you're like, these people must imagine you're sitting house like, my video's got 700 dislikes. I'll never pay my mortgage this month.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it means fuck all.
It means absolutely fuck all. So
One person clicking a button on the internet does not
it
mean
doesn't mean anything.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
your opinion is valueless.
Yeah.
It's worthless, and I don't mean that dismissively towards people who are making unbiased or reasonable comments and just giving their opinion. But see, when you start getting this fucking horrible wave of unwashed, brainless, chin dribbling cunts. Blah, blah, I came from this channel. Blah, blah, blah. Just start your own shitposting page and just talk to each other.
Yeah. To the gentleman that said you've only got 27,000 subscribers, mate.
Suck a dick.
I've worked very, very hard to naturally grow to that amount, and hopefully I'll continue to naturally grow from that amount. Right? You, good sir, could post on Facebook or wherever, calling me a cunt for the rest of your entire life, and still 27,000 people won't even see it. Let alone 27,000 people actively taking interest in what you do.
Unless you share it.
So you can hit that thumbs down on my video. You can leave me a shitty comment, right? But it will not upset me and it will not ruin my day, right? So I made my video. It did what it did. People didn't like it. Fine. Well, Rob's fans didn't like it.
Fuck
Fine.
them.
They tried to bury it. Fine. But now bigger YouTubers are taking it on board. Become the Knight has done a video on it. He's got like 150,000 subscribers. And Duvidas has done a video on it. He's got 450,000 subscribers. And they have come out swinging. You know, they have said Rob is a bully. Rob is bullying smaller YouTubers here.
That's entirely how it is. You were a much more nuanced in how you approached it, because it wasn't you were taking a side as much as you were saying, wait a minute, let's just be completely impartial and honest about the information you're putting out in the public domain.
Well, I was analysing what he said in the video, whereas they were analysing the intent of the consequences of his video.
Oh, okay, fair
You know
enough.
what I mean?
It's a good way to put it. Yep.
Yeah. So honestly, it makes me feel really good. Not like I keep wanting to say proud, but that's like I didn't make this happen at all. I don't want to take any credit for this. I didn't make this happen.
No.
But it makes me feel happy that there are big influential people in this community that care about the community. You know,
Absolutely.
there are so many people over the years that would say to you, if you've not got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And it's like, well, sometimes you have to say something not nice in order to make things better.
Yes.
And I don't think that Rob is beyond saving in this, right? He can come forward and go, you know what? That was a shitty thing for me to do. I apologise.
They won't.
I'm going to be better. Please, my audience, please never do anything like that again. Because if there's someone out there that doesn't like me, that's okay. It's fine that there are people that don't like me. So what? We don't need to go and make this kid's life a misery because he doesn't like me.
But you know that that's not going to be the case. It's cult of personality.
It's not.
It
Yeah.
is, I didn't do this, la 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 la, not my problem.
Yep.
Evidenced by the fact he was in the comments.
Yep.
That
Oh, I bought a £5,000 guitar. It's a great guitar. Blech.
stop it.
Yeah, I'll stop there.
It's you. No,
No. Yeah.
stop it. Just stop it. It's just, I tell you what, prove me wrong. That's what I want to see. Prove me wrong. Prove that you are not a piece of shit, bully, fucking man-child that claims he was being bullied and had to make your video on Christmas Day. No, you chose to do that.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick about it.
It's
Let's be honest.
impossible to prove that you've been bullied and to deny the fact that your fans have then gone on to bully someone else, especially when you were responding to their comments. You fucking enjoyed it.
You ball bag.
Terrible, terrible person.
What I would love to see is,
That letter from his lawyer that he promised me 5 years ago.
oh, that'd be even better. You might get one now.
Well.
You never know. No,
It'd be an even worse time to do it now because back then, 5 years ago, I was willing to fight him just because I was young and full of spunk. Right now, I'd fight him because I've got a lot more worldly fucking experience.
what, and you're empty?
Yeah.
Choosing the word spunk to talk about energy and bravado in Scotland is a very bad idea.
True, that is.
And it's
absolutely
just
true.
not the right choice. But my point is, I would love it to be the case that there is a Mitchell and Weblook style moment of clarity. You know, are we the baddies?
Am I the baddie?
Aye, just that, like, wait, am I the dick here? Like, I would love that because it would be such an excellent way for him to open his eyes and go,
Well, I'm so glad you said that actually, because you know what? When you do get a shit ton of dislikes on videos and people say to you, this isn't a good look, you do have to think about it. You should always take on board comments from subscribers. And I lost subscribers because of that, and I gained subscribers because of that. Like, some people like it, some people don't. So I did absolutely have to look at that and go, am I the baddie here? so to see bigger YouTubers coming, falling on the same side and saying, no, like this is shitty, gives me that sort of confidence that no, there was no benefit to me to make that fucking video, right? I made that because I wanted to try and help Kalen in any way I fucking could. It made me angry and I wanted to try and help him. It came from the right place. I was trying to do a good thing.
Yes.
And yeah, I could be misinterpreted. It doesn't matter. But am I the baddie? Hopefully not. Rob, you're the baddie in this. You're the fucking baddie.
You're a fucking bumder.
Bully, not only bullying a kid off the internet, but his final comment where he says, and this kid, he's got 2 YouTube channels, and the other one, there's videos of his guitar playing, and basically I watched his guitar playing, and maybe if you did a little bit more practice, you'd be a little bit more successful. Fucking ironic coming from the man that seems to know one legato scale. That's it. Formed a career on D minor.
Rob Chapman criticised somebody else's playing.
A 17-year-old kid.
Unironically.
Criticised a 17-year-old kid's playing and said, if you practice more, maybe you'd be more successful. There are many, many ways to success. And you know what? In my career, I've become more successful the less proficient I've been on the instrument.
Rob Chapman making comments about other people's playing. Come on, man.
That seems like a great place to end the show.
Oh, man.
As usual, huge thank you to... I know. Just stop. As usual, a huge thank you to our friends over at Ormsby Guitars, Perry and the guys Rock. Please do go and check them out at NAMM. We will be back in a couple of weeks to talk more about, Ormsby and the things that they've announced at NAMM. There's something bubbling behind the scenes. Hopefully we're going to be able to talk to you about it then. We just need to know the official time that we're going to be able to talk about that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I imagine next episode will be a big NAMM special where we get to sort of look through all the cool things that have come out at NAMM.
Hot damn.
Damn it. That was the thing that guitar page that I'd clicked on that didn't load the thing. It was the Neural DSP thing.
Oh, fuck, that's right. But we can cover that next week.
Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours. No one wants
I mean,
to
by
hear
that
it.
point, it's probably grew arms and legs and ripped Anaheim in half, but we'll worry about that later.
Or people have played it and said it's garbage.
Don't see that happening.
Let's find out.
Do not see that happening. But you might be right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Who
let's...
So we'll make next episode a big NAMM spectacular. As usual, please do like, comment, share, subscribe. You can find a link to our Teespring store in the description where you can pick up one of our Guitar Saints t-shirts. You can see that logo has been on the screen for the entire episode. Available in both premium and cheap quality. Great way to support the show, and we do very much appreciate any of you getting one of those.
Buy premium. The quality of the t-shirts is fucking great. The print's great.
It's actually surprising. So someone sent me a picture of them, and they clearly got the economy one, and I could immediately tell it was an economy one just looking at the print on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The premium ones do look fantastic. They really do look fantastic. They're classy. They're very classy. I mean, it's the most unclassy image you could possibly have.
Aye, true. And as daft as this might sound, like it still astounds me that people not only listen to us but support us, and every little bit of support we get is mind blowing. Like even when I was talking about mental health in the last episode, people were reaching out and saying things like, "It's really good to hear you talking about it. I know I've been through this and myself," and a couple other people were saying, "If you ever need any help or whatever," I don't want to name anybody because I'm not putting any light on it in terms of like for any other reason that they might not want to, but it was very nice for people just to take time to reach out, and it doesn't go unappreciated and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you. And I'm glad that if that at any point gave anybody any other courage, inspiration, thoughts, feelings, drive, motivation to better themselves, then fucking wire in. Because I know I've had my bad times, and it was people like Levi and my good friends and my support network that were there to help me. And if we can extend that out to people who are kind enough to support us and sitting in your studio talking absolute bollocks for a couple of hours at a time, then fuck, wire in. I get it done. You can always be better. You can always feel better. You can always do better for yourself.
So make 2020 the year that you do something incredible for yourself.
I'm going to get super buff, shave my head, and be the fastest guitarist on earth.
And I am going to be able to play train beats on country songs at 500 BPM.
You will be the fastest double hand blaster on earth.
Maybe. So, thank you very much for your time, guys. Until next time.
Bye, fuckers.